All right, welcome everyone to this week's Liberty Libations. I'm Nick, and I'm hosting this week because Jake's in Iceland or somewhere fake like that. So, same deal as I guess last week when he wasn't here. We're gone, so we're gonna run the show the way we want to this week instead of the way he wants to. So we're gonna, sit back, grab a drink, and we're gonna have a little bit of fun for about the next 2 hours or so. With me, I've got Steven, like usual.
Cheers.
We have Zane, who may end up winning trivia again tonight because I wrote the questions and he's probably most familiar with the topic, just from a general knowledge perspective. And then we have Alden.
Launch it.
So,
and he's Alden.
Right.
Yeah.
No intro necessary there.
Defending trivia champion.
That's true. First time, yeah.
Yeah, by the way, the doctor said I should drink fewer beers per week. So this is my one for the evening. Yeah.
Yeah.
One shelf.
That's right.
I didn't want to get up to refill either, so I went a pint cocktail as well. So why not?
Hopefully by the next time I'm on, I'll be drinking the meat I'm currently making.
Oh, nice.
I've got it in the fridge, cold crashing right now. So
nice. Okay, so you're cold crashing. What kind of yeast did you use?
I forget I think D47 or something.
Okay.
On that one, so yeah, I've got that. I've got something else going too that I'm trying out. So we're having some fun.
I've heard people use champagne yeast sometimes to like kick up the ABV. Like if you want high gravity mead, sometimes the champagne yeast. That's what I've heard. I don't know. I don't make mead, but
yeah, I don't know. I'm trying it out. All we can do is pour water and yeast and honey into a thing and try some different things and see what happens. Right?
That's right.
I drink it.
So, hopefully it doesn't come out bad. I'm hoping it comes out all right. So we'll know soon enough.
Well, there's times to be clean and there's times to be sanitary. And most of the time, you only have to be clean. Really, you don't even have to be clean most of the time. You just have, like, when you have to be sanitary, you absolutely have to be sanitary.
Drinkers.
Yeah. There's this beautiful stuff called Star San, and it's a food-safe sanitizer. So you dilute it in water, and if you drink a little bit, whatever, you're good.
I still have like a pet peeve when people like wash their carboys out with it and then they like go like sploosh and there's still like a lot inside it and then they fill it up or whatever. Just like flavor wise, I'm like rinse it better than that. But
there's no flavor to it. Quit your whining.
Yeah, it's good for you. Yeah.
Makes you stronger. All right. So first topic tonight, Zach, you want to pull something up for us? All right.
It's cute.
Garrett, we're also learning some Trump supporters posted the names and addresses of the Georgia grand jurors online. One post even said, quote, "These jurors have signed their death warrant by falsely indicting President Trump," end quote. What more do we know about how this happened and what's being done to protect these jurors?
Yeah, Anna, it's disturbing, and this is due to a quirk in the Georgia law that when these indictments are filed, the names of the grand jurors are made public. They're available on the documents that could be accessed by anybody, just the same way reporters access them. And in this case, the names and in some cases associated addresses have started to pop up on some pro-Trump forums and websites. Some good government groups have flagged this. But right now, the sheriff's office isn't commenting on this. It's not clear what steps, if any, are being taken to protect these grand jurors and sort of how serious any of these threats are at this moment. But it just speaks to the broader environment here where you have judges, attorneys, prosecutors, and now grand jurors getting caught up in personal attacks for their roles in the justice system's efforts to investigate the former president.
All right, this is a perfect example of what Michael Malice refers to the media as being factual but not truthful, because they started off by saying, oh, the personal information of all these grand jurors has been posted online. And then 2 minutes into the clip, you realize that they were posted online because Georgia law that they're posted online.
So it's
All right, so
not unusual, I guess.
let's let's start at the very simple parts here, right? First off, it's a good thing that grand jurors have their name out there. I mean, you're gonna say, hey, this person should be charged and brought up on charges for these things. You know what? You kind of want to know there's a name associated with it, and it wasn't just a couple people in a back room saying, yeah, we decided to indict it. I mean, from a transparency perspective, we kind of want to make sure that people are real and that these proceedings are happening, and having actual names associated with it, in my opinion, is a good thing. Now, bad thing, it's not the grand jurors' fault that they indicted if incorrectly, if that's the case, right? Grand juries indict all the time because that's their job. They aren't given, well, here's this side and that side. Do you think there's enough? They're told just, it's really just a sham proceeding, really. It's, yeah, so here's all we have to prove. And here's everyone that's going to tell you that we can prove everything. And you're going to tell us that we had enough to prove what we said without telling you any other facts. So, I mean, it's a bad system to begin with. But I mean, you're telling people, yep, here's all you have to consider. And here's me giving one person that tells you, here's me giving only people that tell you exactly what I need you to hear. And that way you vote the way I want you to, so it's very rare that you don't get it by the time it goes there, because it's just, yeah, I'm going to throw a couple things at them and that's that, right? There's really no accountability to it. It's a secret proceeding. So there's a whole issue with it. So no, don't blame the grand jurors. Do not go after the grand jurors. Like, violence is not the case here. Don't go posting their addresses. Like, that's not the way to handle it here.
Well, and obviously you don't have to go posting their addresses because the government's already done that for you. Because we have a constitutional right to face our accusers. Otherwise, and this is just rock solid proof that the news media are raging communists. Otherwise, you just have a Stalinist star chamber. I don't know why I stuttered on that, but a star chamber, akin to what Stalin put in place of this nebulous, faceless, nameless people have accused you of something. And so now all of a sudden you're instantly guilty. You're having your rights deprived and stripped away. And if they can do this to a former president with Secret Service detail, I mean, this is the part that's mind numbing to me. Do they honestly think they're going to have Trump go in that bed bug cell, where homeboy was just eaten alive a few months ago? He's going to have
I would love that to happen.
Right. And it's just, he's going to be in there with 5 Secret Service agents that are going to be armed. They're not going to let Sheriff Labatt just take Trump away from the Secret Service detail. They will shoot the sheriff. It's just not going to happen. And of course, in that scenario, I would favor the sheriff. But, it's just crazy to me that people can advocate for, hey, don't you hate your constitutional rights? Look at this flaw in the law that allows you to face your accuser.
Right.
Oh, man.
I feel like this is a very dangerous thing, whether it's actually, whether people are further on posting this personal information to Twitter or beyond what's in the document or whatever, is that this gives the cover to, hey, we should change the law just so that that way these names are secret. That way people can feel protected in the way they vote on this. And that's a really dangerous precedent, but you can see it's written all over it. I mean, it always takes something like this. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if it's not actually being posted around on Twitter, but journalists are saying it is just to stir this up.
Well, and here's another thing to look at is, where was this level of reporting when Secretary of State Brian Kemp let out a CD-ROM of all the voter data in the whole state? Social Security numbers, addresses, names, birth dates, phone numbers, voting record.
Yeah.
All of that got released under Secretary of State Brian Kemp. Equifax, the login was admin on a server in Argentina. 200 million Americans had their identities compromised. Where was that level of reporting then? Hey, well, the flaw in the law allows these people to still walk free. Why aren't they swinging from a tree right now?
Yeah, I mean, in case anybody needed reminded, anybody encouraging you to resort to violence is obviously a Fed and should be laughed out of the room. Because anything that you do, and anything that sometimes you even don't do, but they can claim that you were thinking about, is going to be used against you to take your freedoms away. So Don't
Yep.
any violent thoughts that anybody has. Not that anyone watching this would even have those, because we've been through this rigmarole so many times already. But stop.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, look, a pile of bricks. Where'd that come from?
Dude, it's weird because like whenever that was going on, they're like, oh no, they tried to gaslight everyone and tell you, hey, there's pile of bricks everywhere all the time. And I'm like,
On
no,
every street
I have
corner,
never
don't you
driven
know?
down the street and said, hey, there's a pile of bricks
Yeah.
and no construction. That just doesn't happen. Although
Go to your local Applebee's, pile of bricks.
several months after that, because I remember I was living in Georgia and I was at I'm driving through Sandy Springs, and right on the corner, a pile of bricks. Like on Roswell Road, like by the Kroger.
There you go.
Like where Roswell Road, and then there's like near the Chick-fil-A.
So it can
Where I'm talking
happen.
about
So
Zane.
it means that the Fed
Like
then
just
didn't
north of
place any of them.
285. I was driving by, and like right on like one corner there was just a pile of bricks there, and I'm like, who's rioting here tonight?
Yeah, time to roll back some prices.
So
Time to get the old 100% discount.
I've seen it happen once where I didn't see any like noticeable construction.
All right, so yeah, one time.
But I was also driving, and like there might have been like them like redoing like the crosswalk section or something. I don't know, but
Someone was just doing their papers.
so yeah, so
Well, yeah, that was the other thing about
Commercial.
2020. Everybody was landscaping in 2020.
well, this was in the commercial area of Sandy Springs, and it was probably 2021 ish. I don't know. So like, it was well past the time. Like it was several months after the whole like mostly peaceful, the fiery but mostly peaceful protests.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Fiery but mostly peaceful.
Like it was like well after that, probably the spring after. But
Yeah, they're stomping folks to death on the sidewalk, but mostly peaceful.
well, that clip was insane because he's literally standing in front of a fire, saying that it's mostly peaceful. Yeah, don't believe your lying eyes, right?
Yeah.
Carry on, citizen. So, but yeah, that's the big story coming out of Georgia is the Donald Trump indictment. And it's apparently like a whole bunch of other people got hit too on it. They're like charging anyone who at all denied that the Georgia election results, which I'm kind of concerned that they're going down the path of, well, you were in an official position and you denied the results, therefore you're a part of some giant conspiracy here.
Well, hey, if that's the case,
they charge
let's put Hillary.
People.
Let's finally lock Hillary up, okay? Because I mean, she denied like 3 elections.
Right. So I am concerned about that. And I'm concerned. Well, I mean, we've all, I believe, well, I don't know if we've all listened to it. I know I've listened, listened to the transcript of the supposed call between Donald Trump and Brad Raffensperger, where they're saying he's, Trump's trying to shake him down, and you hear it. And it's like, this is a guy saying, dude, is like begging, like, dude, I know there's something wrong. Please look. Not like, well, you're going to do this, or we're going to see what happens, right? It doesn't.
Yeah, and what's being aired constantly is that I need 4,000, 14,000, however many votes. I need this many votes. That's the clip that's being aired. But what's before and after it is they're shredding the ballots. There's precincts that are shredding ballots, throwing them away, not reporting them. I need you to find them. You don't have to find all of them. Just find 14,000 out of the estimated 250,000.
And I know, like, for a while there, I was following closely with the election. Well, I was listening to like the propaganda report. We've had Brad Binkley on, good guy.
Yeah.
And they were breaking down for a while with Garland Favorita from Voter GA. And I mean, he had a lawsuit going there. Other people had lawsuits, and they, he had his whole case laid out and said, yep, here's what we got. Here's what we want to see. I think they got some of the evidence because they were running, I think they got access to the Fulton County ballots, and they had done some proving that like ballots had been scanned multiple times. And there were some batches coming back 100% Biden. You could tell also because, I guess part of it was you'd scan the ballots forward, and then of course they're, backwards at that point. So if it's directly inverse on it, you kind of can tell that they were running it multiple times. And I think there were video also of them like taking it and throwing it back up on top and running it through again. There was a lot of really sketchy stuff with the Fulton County, especially, burst water pipe. And then you find out leaky urinal.
Right.
And then-
right. And
then
not the
you saw
leaky
the-
urinal inside the basketball stadium, the NBA basketball stadium. You
Yeah,
know,
then
like
you-
it's not. There's 200 other urinals.
And then you saw the video where the observers are standing there and they're like, "Oh, we're shutting it down for the night," and then they leave and turn out the lights, and then they come back in after everyone's gone, and the lights come back on, and ballots and then boxes start coming out from under covered tables, and it's like they're like, "Oh, well, we didn't tell them we were done. We just said we were stopping for a little bit," and it's like. That's not what that looks like. And also, it's illegal for you to have ballots under covered tables. Like, there's so much that was unaddressed. And I know Garland was in it. He was in a lawsuit, and then he was going along because he got access to those ballots, and it's going along. And then all of a sudden, the judge rules he no longer had standing and tossed it because his suit wasn't as an election challenge. It was under some other law because he knew any election challenge was going to get tossed immediately.
Right. Because I remember there was something that precipitated from this. I'm not sure exactly which case it was, but it was there was a judge in Henry County, whatever the circuit is that goes through there. Right. They ruled that the poll workers can be sued individually.
Henry County was ruling on it because it was the Fulton County, and Fulton County judges couldn't rule on stuff going on in Fulton County, I believe, is what was going on.
Got it. They were too close to it. They lived there.
They lived there. He had to go take it to a judge outside of the county. I believe that's why they were in Henry.
Okay. Well, yeah, one of the things came out of that was poll workers can be sued individually for malfeasance during the election or election tampering. So, we did get at least that far with that because, there was plenty of footage that was just slam dunk. Like, that's not proper. Can't really prove that you've got a bunch of fake ballots in that box, but that box didn't come from one of the machines. It came from somebody's car.
And the weirdest part was that it doesn't seem like there's any legal way forward to challenge an election through the courts because every single case that was brought was struck down on standing or something procedural, and no case that I saw was ruled on the merits. The closest that got to it was the voter GA lawsuit. Like I said, all of a sudden, the judge, out of nowhere just says, "Oh, yeah, I thought you had standing, but I decided, nah, you no longer have standing, so case is gone." But I do believe it was either appealed or something else, but I think that case is alive again.
Yeah, it never really got killed because that was.
Well, it got killed, but something happened. I think that case is live again.
Who was it? Because I think it was David Bell Isle was one of the Republicans running for Secretary of State, and this was like the big linchpin of his campaign. And of course, he was using information from some speeches Ted Metz had given. Of course. And he built half his campaign on the stuff. But he had all the details that no other Republican was really saying. It was like, hey, election's a done deal, right? Everyone's like, yeah, no, there's 6 other cases still active. So, there was a bunch of different angles to attack this from. And I'm not sure how it's really going to shake out from a legal perspective. But hopefully, between the mix of that and Dinesh D'Souza's documentary that he dropped,
The 2000 Mules.
Yeah, hopefully we'll at least get some more, diligent participation in poll watching.
That was compelling as far as like the mail-in ballots and like how that was handled. I would just add too that it's from the way that like my vantage point of this across time or whatever, because I was in Florida for the 2000 election and all of that shenanigans, and I got like a lot of the local coverage of that. And
I think I might be a pregnant Chad for Halloween this year.
A pregnant Chad, the hanging Chads and pregnant Chads and whatever. That was a mess down there, and that was more at the time in favor of the Republican Party candidate, and then most recently, of course, we've seen shenanigans more for the Democrats, which leads to my overarching argument all the time, which is that there's really no fucking difference, and there's like a systematic level thing to just pick whatever candidate makes sense to the agenda at the time or whatever. And at the time of Biden, I think it was like they needed him and his particular flavor of bullshit for when COVID was going to be there, and to do all the lockdowns and everything like that or whatever. That's like sort of my theory, but I've seen it go both ways. Like,
well, and then seeing all the grift coming out of Ukraine, and you know, I think they had some loose ends they still had to button up. That, you know, even though he's not really doesn't have all his faculties, you know, the elevator doesn't go all the way to the top.
yeah,
Which you know, by the way, in his first term, he's taken over a year of vacation in his first term alone. Which, you know, he's on a permanent vacation mentally, anyways.
Right, Jake Sullivan's running the country.
Yeah, somebody is. And we've known since 9/11, it's not the president, whoever's in there.
yeah.
But yeah, talking about the Florida stuff, man, there was a cool documentary I was trying to watch one time called American Blackout, and it was about, like, you know, if the power grid goes down, everybody's going to be cannibals within 2 weeks. It was a really fascinating concept to me, and I looked that up, and there's another documentary by the same name about the 2000 election, and it's talking about, you know, how Bush marginalized the black vote, you know, because he, you know, Greyhound canceled their routes that day and they couldn't bus people to the polls, and it's like, what? I don't. It was a really loose premise, but there was definitely some stuff going on, and of course, you know, back in 2000, I was like, Bush all the way, you know.
Right.
He didn't do anything wrong, but I'm looking at him like, I don't know, that kind of stinks. Like, there's no way he didn't know about that and just not say anything. Not saying he did it.
He knew, and his brother knew, you know, Jeb in Florida at the time. And
yeah,
there was, like, what is it? Catherine Harris at the time was a big player in that. And just, it was a mess, man. It was but again, I'm not like, I just don't want us to come across as like one's like sort of like pushback from another side. Like, I'm saying like more that like the libertarian, like that third side thing of like, I've seen it happen when the machinery is like picks a candidate and they push it to go through one way or the other. And it's a lot easier when you just have two to kind of deal with to rig the system that way.
I miss the good old days when you could actually use your phone.
What was that saying?
I guess now is a good time to add the standard disclaimer that we all think that Trump should be in prison for life for war crimes. That being said, these charges are ridiculous, and he should not go to prison on these charges.
Right.
Both can be true.
Both are true, right? I mean, these charges are ridiculous. It's I mean, it just has the look of a political hit job, like Banana Republic. You know, the same thing they accuse Vladimir Putin imprisoning what's his name over there, right? The same thing they do with all the big bad guys. Oh, they imprisoned this opposition leader, and you know, just because you run it through the court system doesn't make it look any better, right? I mean, the American court system, as we all know, is a total mess where, you know, 90-something% of charges go to pleas because they just, you know, create crimes out of everything, and it's just stack charges. Oh, you jaywalked, so you're looking at 50 years, but if you take a plea, you know, we'll only give you a, you know, $50 fine, right? I mean, that's kind of how ridiculous it works. And you know, I forget whoever wrote it, but you know, there's that book out there, 3 felonies a day, right? I mean, the average person commits 3 felonies a day because there are just so many fucking laws on the books that you don't know about, and most people don't know about. But hey, if they're targeting you, you know,
then no longer, dig up one of those.
You know, right? There's no longer what is it? Is it mens rea, or guilty minds, right? Where you have to like have intended to break a crime to be part, you know, to be part of guilty. It's just, yeah, well, these words on a piece of paper say that you broke a law, and you know, we're gonna say you did. So, you know, you either plead guilty or, you know, we're gonna lock you up for 150 years for.
Yeah, and they can turn the other way when it's their buddies, but then they will like hone in on you and say that, oh, it was your like job to know every one of the laws or whatever. And it's like, there's so many countless, just umpteen thousand laws. It's impossible for everyone to know every law. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Wait, you're saying you haven't read all over 1 million pages of the Federal Register?
I study it more than the Bible.
Yeah. No, I mean, Nick's right. Like, if they want to, though, they can pull up something, find something on you, and yeah, like the average of like 3 felonies a day, like it's impossible not to commit a crime.
Oh, absolutely. Well, here in Georgia, there's and antiquated laws are a big part of that 3 felonies a day. There's a lot of things, you know, from the Puritan days and all that kind of stuff. Like, there's an old law here in Georgia on the books from the early 1800s that fellatio is illegal.
I knew that was coming up. I knew it. Yeah, exactly.
In California, you can't shoot a whale with an automatic weapon from a truck.
I think that
How
one of
often does
those
that
two is
happen?
much more frequent than the other.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I was like, I thought this was America. That's why I would go on
clearly
Highway
more
1.
People are shooting whales. Yeah.
Hey Zach, I'm not Jake, so I don't have control to put comments up on screen, so you're gonna have to do that. Sorry.
He's throwing a few up.
Yeah,
Well,
I know. I just
I
want to
threw the
make
last one up. You want Grumpy's up there?
Can you? Yeah, Grumpy's got a good one. Can you throw it up? Because I don't know. If
Yeah.
I can.
They
I
may
don't know
come
if I
up.
can or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Grumpy's
Yeah.
got a
Oh, yeah,
good one.
Oh yeah, Jake said to remember to read the comments out for our audio listeners. So Grumpy Gnome says the police don't have to know any of the laws; they make most of them up.
Yeah,
Which
I've
is
seen
true.
him do it.
Well, it's like I do go down like that rabbit hole on YouTube watching some of these cop videos.
Yeah,
There's some people who do it quite well, right? I'll recommend like Lackluster on YouTube. I think he does a really great job with breaking some of this stuff down. And then like Audit also, right, where he kind of breaks down everything, gives it a grade. And some of the stuff you just see is just so blatantly insane. Like handcuffed guy, they're walking him to, taking him to the hospital after they already beat his ass, and then they throw him to the ground and break his neck and then tell him get up, walk. He's faking it when he literally can't move because they paralyzed him, right?
yeah.
Well, and some of this stuff too, of course, having law enforcement in the family, some of the stuff that was coming out throughout the 80s, early 90s, mid 90s in particular, that was the advent of your, designer party drugs. So you had a lot of meth on the streets, a lot of X. Angel dust was getting popular some places. And so you have people hopped up on 4 different kinds of God knows what. And, if you had 5 grown men punching you in the face and you're still like swinging back, just going blow for blow with all 5 of them, and you knock 3 of them out during that fight, then 30 minutes later, they're going to treat you like you're still on that level and slam you in the pavement, and they might break your neck, which 30 minutes prior, before your high wore off, wouldn't have mattered.
Right.
So it's like what do you do at that point? How do you train for that? I mean, you're supposed to do, how do you isolate that? So there are those cases for the ones that really care about their job, but for every one of those, there's 5 of them that aren't handled properly, and that's the problem.
Like a video I watched recently was a guy, I think he was in a fast food restaurant. He had was on a bike and had asked a cop directions, and then the cop told him where to go or something, and then he went into like a fast food restaurant or something and was like, I'm asking directions here, and the cop comes in screaming at him that he told him where to go and to get the hell out of there and blah blah blah. And the guy's like in the middle of it, like the cop's like, no, you haven't committed any crime. So the guy like gets out and walks away. The cop chases him down, grabs him, tackles him onto the ground, and he's like, it's like, you just said he didn't commit any crimes. Like,
oh my gosh,
the dude was permanently injured out of it and came to a lawsuit on it as well. Like, some of these videos are absolutely insane.
We're gonna have to do that. I think you're talking about very, very similar to that. It's in Paulding County, Georgia.
I'm just gonna one of these days. I'm just gonna sit down and I'm gonna pull a bunch of these up, and we're either gonna do a special or we're gonna do this. So we're just gonna go through these and just like get them all on the record here, because
there you go.
Good breakdown to have. Just like, hey, let's like talk about some of this and just put it out there on a different platform and just let's highlight.
Bad habit is
there's one from a couple of years ago in Paulding County, Georgia, up in like Ackworth or Dallas, somewhere like that. And I think it was a sheriff up there, and the guy had a backpack on. Did I do anything wrong? Am I being detained? The cop's like, no. And then he tries to walk off and winds up getting suplexed on the sidewalk, and like he's paralyzed from the waist down now.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Like you see, it's always crazy. Like whenever you see, especially like the inland border patrol checkpoints out in like Texas, California, places like that, they're like, you pull up and they're like, is everyone American citizens here? And it's, am I being detained? No. Well, I'm going to go. No, you're not.
Yeah, I can't have both. Yeah.
Which is it? Well, this isn't an inspection. I don't, and then especially like California, they have agricultural checkpoints. And I've watched a bunch of these videos, right? It's like, are you carrying any fruit? And the guy's like, well, I don't consent to searches. I'm not answering your question. Well, it's not a search; it's an inspection.
It's
The guy's like,
semantics.
that's the same thing. I'm not doing it, and he just pulled off and then gets arrested down the road.
Oh, nice. Great.
Yeah. The only fruit in this car is of the loom. How about that?
Which
I
has
have a bad
great-
habit of watching
no
these
matter
like
what
late at night.
Mandela effect says it doesn't. That's
What's
not
that?
good. Anyway, go to trivia. Who wants to go to trivia?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's go to trivia. Zach, play the drop.
I'm slow without Jake.
Ah, you're good. There we go. All right. Welcome to the Libations Trivia, where we see who knows the most about stuff. Tonight, our topics are, let me check.
Stuff,
Well,
things.
today, well, we'll leave it surprises still, right? Let me get this up so I don't have to pull a Jake and question what my answers are, right? I believe those were produce inspections in California.
There we go. Well, I would definitely have a tube steak to show them.
Which is still
Some
weird.
grade A
because
beef right there.
You can't be impeding that travel. First topic. Our first topic is today in history. So, Zach, are you able to pull the first question up? I don't know exactly how this works. All right, 5 questions. In 1590, the governor of what colony returned to find no trace of the colonists? Zane, I saw you first.
Roanoke.
The answer is Roanoke. Point Zane.
All right. Good
hang
job,
on.
Zane.
I need to
Thanks.
make notes here of who's got what points so I don't.
So, what state is that a part of?
Virginia, I
Modern day?
think.
Virginia, North
Roanoke?
Carolina. One of those.
Yeah,
two.
it was like
Dadgummit. I was going to say Massachusetts.
I thought it was Virginia.
No.
But I could be wrong.
And-
I did know the name Roanoke at least, but
Alden. All right, so
it's a weird story, honestly.
Yeah, that's a real weird story. Zane gets one. All right. Next question. Let's bring it up. In 1945, what country was divided into North and South along the 38th parallel? Zane was first again.
Korea.
The answer is Korea. All right. And to make a note, these are all from today. Like, these are all today things. So,
Oh, cool.
so it's not like this week. This is all today.
So, it was August 17th, 1945.
Yes.
Okay.
So to go there, I didn't play. I found enough good stuff for today. All right, Zach, let's go to the next question. In 1998, President Bill Clinton admitted he had an improper physical relationship and that he misled people about the relationship with what White House intern? Alden, I saw you first.
Monica Lewinsky.
The answer is Monica Lewinsky. All right, moving on. In 1979, what British comedy movie starring Graham Chapman, John Cleese, and Terry Gilliam opened in U.S. theaters? Zane.
Life of Brian.
It was Life of Brian.
Oh,
Nice.
you even got it right.
I saw that
Yeah.
recently again. I love both of those movies. Man.
That
Oh,
is a
yeah.
good movie.
The people of Judea's
All
front.
In 1960,
We're not seeing
moving
the-
on. What African nation gained its independence from the French? Zane, I saw you first.
Algeria.
No. I think I saw Steve second.
Gambia.
No.
Okay, so I never say it right, but Niger or Niger?
Incorrect.
I thought, okay, because I was like, I think that was a question last time on another day in history. But
Steve, what do you got?
Ghana.
No.
Ah,
Zane?
Tunisia.
No.
I'll go one more
Alden?
time. Zimbabwe.
No.
Man,
I'll
we're just going to
give-
name every.
Yeah, I will give everyone one more chance before we call it.
Okay.
Steve?
Ivory Coast.
No. Zane?
I'll stay in North Africa and say Libya.
No.
Congo.
Alden? Congo? No. The answer is Gabon.
No.
Never would have said that.
Now, people were close given the G's, and especially Steve gave the GA with Ghana. But
Well,
Did
it's
anyone in the
GH,
audience
actually.
get that one? Or
well, it's
I didn't
still
know that one.
the same way, right? So, but yeah, Gabon, a country no one really thinks about because I don't know anything about it, but it
I
gained its
don't.
independence on this day, and we should think about that.
what's
Hey,
their?
Happy Independence Day, Gabon.
Yep.
Can we keep that? Florida.
So, all right. So, the result of that round is Zane gets 4, and everyone else is at 0.
There we go.
So, round 2's worth what? 2 points apiece?
Wait,
Is that what we normally do?
Alden got one of those.
I thought I got something.
Yeah, I think I've got.
They got
Alden has
Alden
one.
got Monica Lewinsky.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
That's right. I forgot to give Alden a point for that.
I couldn't
we go.
remember what I
To
got.
be honest,
right,
that's
but
why
I
we're
got
doing
something.
this. This is the first time I'm doing this.
We're on the
And,
honor system, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't click on a comment, but Grumpy, I have no idea if it's still a country or not. But
Yeah, it is.
is it still a country?
Yeah.
So then, does Zane have 3 then? Because where's their 5?
Yeah, I've
Zane
got
has
presidents?
3, Alden has 1. I
Okay,
completely forgot. I just assumed Zane gets everything. All right. Next question.
Not,
That's fair.
not a bad assumption.
It's a safe assumption.
statistically,
So these are worth 2 each, and the topic is Yinsno, Pittsburgh, and that. All right. So this is going to be a fun one because it's fun because I made it all up without having to look, without having to,
Yins. Is that what y'all say instead of y'all?
Yeah, it's Yins up here.
Okay.
Yins, yeah, it's a Pittsburgh thing. So yeah, Yinsno, Pittsburgh, and that. So
All right. 10
Uh,
questions about George Pickens, I hope.
unfortunately, no. All right, Zach. Let's bring up question 1. Downtown Pittsburgh is known for its 3 rivers. Name 2 of the 3. Zane.
I think I can get all 3. It's the Ohio, the Allegheny, and the Monongahela.
That is correct.
dang.
Ooh, I knew Allegheny.
I've written a trivia question where this was the answer, which is
Oh
how
wow.
Well, but I know you've also been through this area and have ties to Ohio or something in Maryland or whatever. So I was concerned that this was going to be like too much in your wheelhouse, but I went with it anyway.
I only knew
Kind
Ohio.
of on the drive home today from work, I regretted, like, since Jake's not here, not doing Iceland trivia in honor of him. But I thought about it too late. So
Every guess I had would have been Bjork.
I would.
oh, that's
yeah, I
about
don't know if
right.
I'd be able to
You know,
pronounce any.
What sound does a dog make in Iceland? Bjork.
Nice.
All right, Zach. Next question. Before the city of Pittsburgh, Fort Pitt stood at the intersection of 3 rivers. What was the name of the French fort that preceded it? Steve.
Allegheny.
No.
It's a good
Nice
guess.
try, though. Yeah.
Zane.
Fort Wee Wee Baguette.
No.
Oh man.
Gonna give Alden. I see you, Steve. I was gonna give Alden a chance.
Roquefort?
No. Steve, what do you got?
Trois, whatever the French word for river is. Trois rivers. Okay.
Nope.
I would have named it that. They missed an
Well,
opportunity.
Well, I mean, they had Detroit, right? Detroit. So, Zane, Alden.
I got nothing.
Yeah. Fort Roethlisberger? I don't know.
Yeah, finally. All right. The answer is actually Fort Duquesne.
That's what I said.
If you look, yeah, if you look, you can see the outline of the old fort there, and then the much larger Fort Pitt outline in that picture. Anyway, Grumpy says, "Fort, I surrender." Yeah, basically, that is what kind of happened.
But that was also from the time when the French did not do that.
Well, in North America, they did.
They burnt down the White House just a few years after that.
The British
did?
did.
I thought the
Are you
French did
talking
that.
about the War of 1812? That
Yeah.
was the British. That was
The
Okay.
British burned. Yeah.
Well, hey,
Yeah. The
the
British
French need
already
to get on
came
their game
first.
then.
Yeah. No. All right. Zach, question 3, if you don't mind. Yeah, Fort Duquesne.
That is not how I would have pronounced that. So,
Hey, what small town east of Pittsburgh is the birthplace of both Fred Rogers and Arnold Palmer? Steve.
I beat Zane. Philadelphia.
small town.
Small town.
Small town. Swing and a miss on that one.
Alden.
Butts.
No. Zane, you got an answer?
I'm trying to think if I can actually come up with anything legitimate, but I don't think that I can.
There are some towns named Butts.
I will, if after Zane guesses, I will give a hint and then let everyone go again. I saw your hand, Steve, but I'll give a
Okay.
hint.
Go ahead and give the hint. I can't come up with anything.
All right. The hint is this is the same place the Steelers hold their training camp.
Oh, no. Is that
Oh,
right?
one for the audience.
Nice.
Oh,
I should know that, honestly.
okay.
Warren with the big one there.
Is that
Yeah.
also where Doc Dixon is from?
No, he lives down in Georgia, but I don't know where he's from. But I know I think he works at Kennywood, which is the local
He's from some rat hole nowhere in Pennsylvania. It's part of his bit.
I'd have to look up and see exactly where he's from.
Okay.
No, I know he's up here a lot, but I know he's in the Pittsburgh area a lot. But I know
Yeah.
Kennywood work, but I don't know exactly where. Okay.
Audience on the
Next.
board.
Question. What company, originally known for glass but more recently paint, is the iconic glass castle skyscraper named after? Zane.
Sherwin-Williams.
No. Steve.
DuPont.
No.
Oh, man.
Alden.
Glidden?
No.
Can I double up or do we?
Alden. Well, everyone else won, so yeah. In round 2, this is your first.
All right. Bear?
No.
Just trying to name paint things now. I don't know.
Right.
Zane.
Medicoat.
No. Fun
The
fact: my
glass
sister
thing
also
is
works
tripping
for
me
this
up.
company.
Is
What
what?
doesn't?
My sister also works for this company.
Oh.
Steve, you got a good guess? Wait, to see if Steve gets it.
Yeah, yeah.
Pyrex?
They make paint?
They make glass.
Another one to the audience. Warren's got it with PPG, Pittsburgh.
Ooh.
Oh, nice.
Also,
yeah,
named after-
definitely.
also have a name for the hockey arena.
Okay.
It used to be Pittsburgh Plate Glass. Now
I've seen the logo. I just never knew what it was.
So they kept the name and the acronym. That's kind of cool. I didn't know this, but
yeah.
as a brand designer, I can appreciate that, though.
All right. Next question.
Yeah, parts per gazillion.
What building is the tallest educational building in the Western Hemisphere, known for its 31 nationality rooms as well as its victory lights? Zane.
Oh, I know it's affiliated with one of the colleges there. I think Carnegie Mellon, probably because he went there. But it's called like the Tower of Knowledge or something along those lines.
Maybe along those lines, but that is not correct. And you've got the wrong school also.
Building is the tallest educational building.
I've heard of this with the different rooms thing.
"31 nationality rooms."
Yeah.
Yeah, so when the football team wins, they light up the top with bright lights.
American football?
Oh, yeah. And
Okay.
then, like, when other teams win championships, they will also light up for that. But they mainly light up for winning football games. Oh, it's
This
also
is-
known to host nests of peregrine falcons up on the ledges.
Nice.
All right, Steve, what do you got?
Falcon Tower.
Nope. Anyone else have a good answer?
I can I go
Zane?
again?
Sure, yeah.
It's like the Tower of Learning.
You're close, but you're still not there. Alden?
The Tower of Higher Knowledge.
Unfortunately, no.
Uh,
I'm going to call it at this point.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think honestly.
The answer is the Cathedral of Learning.
Oh.
And it's a pit thing, right?
Yes, it's
not
pit.
Carnegie Mellon.
Right. It's across the street from some Carnegie Mellon buildings. Like they kind of overlap on some of the streets in that area.
I've heard at some point with the different rooms thing is what I was trying to like, but it was
Yeah,
thrown
they,
off.
some of those rooms are apparently haunted too or something. But yeah, the inside of the building's crazy. I mean, it's an impressive structure.
It looks like something from the Wizard of Oz or something. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's a cool building. And like I said, tallest in the Western Hemisphere and second tallest like pure educational building in the world or something. So
You got Peregrine
like there's
Falcons up
classes.
there.
There's like classes in that offices. Like I've been in it a couple times, but yeah. All right. Next question, number 6. What labor action at a Carnegie steel facility turned into a battle between steelworkers and Pinkerton agents? Zane,
A strike.
which one?
Mm.
You're wanting me to actually give the.
I want the
Yeah.
name. It's in the history books. At least every history book I ever was.
Homestead.
It was Homestead.
Dang.
Wow.
Nice. Well done, Zane.
At this point, we're just cheering him on. Good job, buddy.
Honestly, yeah, good job, Zane. I didn't know that. So.
2 points for Zane on that one. All right. All right. While known for steel, Pittsburgh was also the birthplace of the aluminum industry when this company was founded in 1888. Zane.
Alcoa.
Alcoa, the aluminum company of America.
Nice.
There you go.
Again.
Now they're in Tennessee, so they don't pay state income tax.
Headquartered in Pittsburgh.
do
Okay.
they
Iowa, Tennessee.
do they produce fluoride as a byproduct of their aluminum product?
Yes, they do.
We were talking about that last week. Yeah. See, I know that much, but I don't know the company names.
Here we go. Zach says, "How
All
did Brit say? How did Brick say aluminum?
Well, it's
Aluminum.
the correct word.
It's aluminium.
Aluminium
Aluminum.
is the element. Yeah.
Aluminium. One of my favorite moments of middle school was hearing David Attenborough go, aluminium."
Yeah. Do you know how that started? With
I was
it
right. They
a-
say it incorrectly.
Yeah, that's right. They do.
There's no I in it. There's no I in it. There's no I
It
at the end.
started with
Well,
a-
there is in the British.
There
spelling.
is, and we have a new word for it, like literally.
Right,
and
but
it
like,
started with a misprint.
If
in
we hadn't
newspaper.
rescued their ass in the Second World War, they wouldn't be speaking English, right? So
Yeah, there you go. They'd be a lampshade.
But caramel and caramel is another one, and aluminum and aluminium. They started
Fries
from
and chips.
misprints.
Yeah.
Well, that was just a misspell. That was just an illiterate person trying to spell the word chips, and they didn't miss it.
Yeah.
Water bottle and wall ball.
Yeah. How many commas are in that exactly? That's what I want to figure out.
They're apostrophes.
Yeah. Apostrophes. Thank you.
No, I'm
we
sorry.
created the language, but we ignore half
The
of
only
it.
the only southern equivalent I can think of that would have that many apostrophes in it would be the word y'aldentive.
Or anything Hawaiian.
For like y'all wouldn't have. You put that on as
Oh.
one like massive contraction, you know.
Beer
Y'all didn't
can
know
is
any of
British.
us, I told you.
Zach, isn't beer can in British the same thing as bacon in Jamaican?
Yeah, well, beer can in Irish is the same as bacon in
I'm
Jamaican.
going off of Zach's comment. But
Yeah.
So.
Bacon. Uh-oh. I'm trying to hide it. Sorry. We're fighting.
All right, let's move on to the next question. What is the name of the westernmost ridge of the Allegheny Mountains running from southern Indiana County to Morgantown, West Virginia, and is a well-known paranormal hotspot, including events such as the 1965 Kecksburg UFO incident? Steve.
Is that the Adirondacks? No, it's
No.
not. Yep.
I know about the event.
Yeah,
Yeah, Zach's asking Kecksburg. How? Yeah, the memes write themselves now, right? Kecksburg. Are you serious?
Do, right?
If that's it, I mean,
They kind of do, right? But that's not the name of the ridge. But I'm saying Kecksburg is on the ridge, and the UFO incident's a famous thing. But yeah, there's good news to that.
Oh yeah, meme magic is totally real.
I've got nothing.
yeah, I don't know.
What's ridge that?
Unless it's just the Kecksburg Ridge or something. But
Steve, you giving up, or you got anything?
I don't know.
It's the
Chestnut.
Chestnut Ridge. Yes, if you go on YouTube, you can find a really bad documentary about all the crazy stuff on it.
yeah, but the UFO looks like an acorn, so this is confusing.
Right. Yeah. I don't make the rules here. I'm just telling you what goes on, right?
Well, it's in Kecksburg, so it was really a frog.
Right. It was a frog pilot.
A frog pilot.
That's right. And Baron Trump trying to warn us about the future.
Yeah, from the past, right? I mean, because it came to the Nazi time travel.
The Nazi bell.
I don't know. There's all kinds of weird stuff that people speculate on it, but all I know is people say some bell-shaped object fell out of the sky, and then the military rolled in, grabbed it all, and disappeared with it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's a strange little incident. Not super well known, but well enough known.
For anyone that's like into like UFO stuff, it's like well known, yeah.
Well, I do consider myself an ancient astronaut theorist, and I'm surprised I didn't know about that one. Got to brush up on my William Shatner documentaries.
That speaks to how many incidents there are, like nationwide or worldwide. Honestly, is that you can look into it a lot and miss some. Man, there's a bunch of stories about it.
Steve, does being an animal wants?
Yes, it does.
The acronym too almost is a little too close to ass, like ancient astronaut theorist. But
yeah, I would love. It's actually like a life dream to have that moniker on the screen while I'm saying something. I just stumbled out of the bar. I'm like 9 beers deep. And I'm like, listen, this is what's going on.
You need to have the hair like the guy. Like
they're trying to turn the friggin' frogs gay.
Ancient astronaut theorist.
Did you see Zach just change your headline?
Yes, there we go.
Except for AAS.
Yeah. Well, the reason why I pulled you over today is to inspect the meat in your vehicle. So.
All right, Zach, let's go to question number 9. What is the name of architect Frank Lloyd Wright's most famous house built originally for the Kaufman family in the Laurel Highlands region of southwestern Pennsylvania? Zane, I saw your hand.
Damn it.
Falling Water.
Falling Water is the answer.
It's like my favorite architect.
I'm impressed you have a favorite architect.
Yeah.
I can name one, and it's just because I read about some place in Spain that he designed and he just passed away, and like they did the
thing with the
homage
plants
to
all
him.
over it or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
it's an
cool, too.
interesting. It's an interesting place. Cantilever.
I never really
You
got
go
the
there,
appeal of it.
I don't know, but you go there, they tell you cantilevers a lot. It's reinforced concrete and cantilevers.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's a suspended ledge, like
There you go. Are the cantilevers made of aluminium?
Reinforced concrete. So.
Dang it! I tried to do the thing where I try to do what Zane does, where it, like just like the question starts and you just raise your hand, you know.
I've done
and
that.
Figure it
I
out
did
by
that
the end,
earlier.
like-
It just backfired.
Because I know the image, so like when I saw the image, I was like, whatever the answer is, whether it's Frank Lloyd Wright or Falling Water or whatever, like I'll figure it out. And then I still apparently didn't even get there. I don't know. I want to see the replay footage on that one.
I saw Zane's hand go up. That's all I can say. And you could be on a delay, but like maybe that's what it is. Zane's like lag switching you guys, and he's just hopping in there. I don't know. All right, Zach,
Internet diff.
question 10 here. This tax protest by farmers in Western Pennsylvania ended when President George Washington sent the army and multiple state militias to put it down. I saw Zane on it.
This is a rebellion whose flag I actually currently have displayed on my balcony. This is the Whiskey Rebellion.
This is the Whiskey Rebellion.
Sounds tasty.
Yeah, it's a good one. I think
I actually remember that name.
Feathered some tax collectors. They did a whole bunch. Yeah, you can see in the picture they tarred and feathered some.
Which Zane, what was it? Was it 2%?
What?
The
The tax?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I believe it was single digits. It was below 5. What I'm sure of that. So just pay attention to that. I don't know if you saw the the crappy TV show a few years ago, Sleepy Hollow. They did this whole the myth of Ichabod Crane and that whole thing, but it was like modern day Boston and like a colonial soldier that fought with the Hessians and General Washington. He was like resurrected somehow because he's tied to the Headless Horseman or something like that. So it was like a colonial guy in modern day times, and he goes to Starbucks and he's reading the receipt, and he was like 9.5% for coffee. You realize we rebelled over 2 for whiskey. What are you doing? What have we left to you?
Well, it's like 2% tea. I can't remember what the whiskey tax was, but there was a tax, and it pissed everyone off in Western Pennsylvania. And they said, "Ain't happening." And they tarred and feathered the tax. I think they killed some tax collectors too. I don't know. It got a little insane. But
in Washington State, it's like 28 or some crazy number now. It's insane.
Pennsylvania still has a tax called the Johnstown flood tax on alcohol. Like they tax us for a flood that happened like 100 years ago.
No, that would make total sense to me.
Wow.
That's fine.
At one point, they decided, we're just going to make this permanent. We're going to keep calling it the Johnstown flood tax, and we're going to tax the alcohol. Also, all the liquor in Pennsylvania is sold out of state-owned stores, except like if it's bought directly from a distillery. So so like it's extremely like commie-centric here.
There you go. So a standard bottle of Blanton's up there is like $300.
Not that bad, but like I think it is a slightly more expensive just because state owns all the liquor stores.
Yeah, MSRP on Blanton's is like $45. I get it all day down here in Georgia for $50. I've got people in Birmingham, Alabama that are like, "Bro, I'll pay you $200 and meet you halfway." What?
It's crazy.
Like there's the alcohol laws here are crazy, right? Because grocery stores can't sell cases of beer. Actually, grocery stores can't sell beer, right?
God.
And gas stations can't sell beer either, right? So the only place you can get a case is from the beer distributor, right? And then
is it that size you're saying specifically? You can't buy a case of beer?
A case.
Okay.
Right? You can't do a case. Now, the grocery stores, if they serve food there, they call themselves a restaurant in that section, and they sell 6-packs and smaller stuff. And the gas stations that sell food call themselves restaurants so that they can sell beer out of the gas station, because that's been a thing that's happened more recently. But for a while, it was like only bars could sell 6-packs, and only distributors could sell cases, and only the state could sell liquor and wine.
Oh my God.
Like wineries and distilleries, they're allowed to sell their own stuff. And like one other, I think distilleries get 2 licenses to sell. And
you are not selling me on this state.
And the distillery can sell out of their own place, and then there's like a store in Pittsburgh that takes other distilleries' second license they have to sell it, and that way they collect all the like in-state made distillery stuff and sell it out of that store in Pittsburgh. Warren, pull up Warren's comment about Iron City beer, because I want to correct the record on that.
Oh, Iron City beer. Here we go.
Yeah, so it's not from the waters of the Monongahela. It's from the waters of the Allegheny, which is much cleaner. The old brewery was located in Lawrenceville, which is on the Allegheny side of Pittsburgh. And then they moved out of Pittsburgh to the Latrobe Brewing Company, since we're making a call back to Latrobe from earlier. but actually Iron City brought their distribution back to right across the river from where I live to Creighton, PA. They've put in a giant facility to brew beer. They're talking about doing distilling there too, putting an amphitheater, a marina, restaurants. Like if you've ever been to like Asheville, like that, like what Sierra Nevada has there, like I kind of
Oh yeah. Oh, that's adult Disneyland, by the way.
Like,
oh my gosh, have you ever been there?
to the
No.
Sierra Nevada?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Oh,
why
they've got like, was it 5 miles of natural walking trails? They've got these, organic gardens you can walk through. And my favorite at the time was these child pens, so
What?
yeah, it was playpens and sand pits and swing sets and all kind of like stuff for kids to play on. You can put your kid right there, post up on a fence post, sip your beer, watch your kid play with other kids, and then the amphitheater is within view and earshot. And so the live music, you're still a part of it. Your kid's playing, your kid's happy. Everybody had some food that's mediocre, but great presentation.
At first, I pictured you like on the Jungle Gym drunk, which was funny, but now I get it.
I did that, and it was weird when the kids got in there, so I had to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They frown upon that. Right.
But, actually Iron City's I think they're back to I don't know if they're completely brewing that facility, but like I said, it's literally like right across the river from where I live. It's a sweet looking facility, and in a callback, it used to be a PPG glass facility. And they repurposed it into a brewery, and yeah, like I said, it's turning into a giant brewery, like
with very little paint in the beer.
Right. So it's actually like I said,
sanitary paint.
It kind of reminds me like what they had at Sierra Nevada, just like brewery, museum, like probably restaurant, like some giant thing that just up in this part. So it's actually kind of interesting there, and they're doing some Iron City, and proper pronunciation Iron City, right? Iron City.
That made me want another beer, Steven.
They've done some weird stuff, like the local iced tea that everyone drinks, Turner's. They did a Iron City beer brewed with Turner's iced tea thing. It was weird. I didn't like it too much.
I've always been a Tetley man myself.
What's Tetley?
I don't know where they're from. It's a tea.
Oh, I was gonna say, shouldn't they drink Palmer's if Arnold Palmer was born out of the city? But
Zach, pull up your comment. Yeah, PBG has a lot of contracts for aircraft.
That was Grumpy Gnome. He was asking if PPG does or says they use PPG sealant on aircraft.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Zach asks, how do yin say crick?
it's correct, right? Yeah.
It's a babbling brook. Get it right, y'all.
So I think that answers the question. So yeah.
So are we still playing trivia, or?
Yeah, I think we are.
I guess. Yeah.
We're between questions at the moment, but whatever.
So Zane has. I think I miscounted. I think that's.
Zane has infinity, but we're still trying.
I think Zane has I think I miscounted the way I put these lines up on the screen, but I see 6-5. He's got 14. Ian has 4. Alden has 1, and Steve has 0.
I feel robbed with the water question.
I have the last question here. 3 questions. You pull up the title slide. Unusual geological formations around the world. Let's make this fun and call it 5 points apiece.
Oh.
Everyone go with that?
I bought my wife a calendar as a gag a couple of years ago, so I might know some of these.
All right, let's call it 5 points apiece, and let's see what happens. We're going to challenge Zane. We're going to see if Zane can lose on this. All right. Question, Zach. Let's get it up there. What geological formation in Arizona is famous for its striking orange and red rock formations? Is that
Zane's
Zane?
the first one still.
I mean, I know it's not going to be the Grand Canyon, but I feel like I have to say it. The Grand Canyon.
It's not. Steve, I think I saw you next.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a formation. I was just going to say Sedona. I mean, that picture looks like Sedona, but it's not a geological formation. That wasn't really a good answer.
Formation, no. Alden, what do you got?
I would honestly, I was gonna say like the Red Rocks, but like Red Rock is like in the name, so I didn't think that was it. But
Yeah, and Red Rock is Colorado. Right.
is
Yeah,
it?
the Red Rock Amphitheater is Colorado.
Oh well, that is yeah.
Yeah.
Zane,
Oh,
what do you
maybe
got?
that's right.
Zane, what do you got?
Is it Monument Valley?
It is not.
I know Stan Marsh's dad studies this in South Park because he's a fluvial geomorphologist.
Nice.
Uh,
I love the episodes
You
where the
want-
whole town looks to him because he's like the only scientist in the town.
that is not the answer either. Trump
That's
Valley.
it. We got it.
I mean, I kind of want to give Trump credit for that just for shits and giggles. I'm guessing no one's got it. The answer is Antelope Canyon.
Mm.
Antelope Canyon. Okay.
I don't know. All right, next question. Which oceanic rock formation found off the coast of Northern Ireland is known for its distinct polygonal columns? I saw Alden first.
So I know the type of rock. I don't know. Is this like one specific area?
It's got a specific name.
Okay,
And
then I don't know.
another
It's
type of rock you've got too.
it's basalt rock or whatever.
Right.
But I don't know.
Yeah, it's got a specific name. Zane, I saw your hand go up.
I think it's Giant Staircase.
You're close.
Oh shoot! I know what it is now, but I
I'm
can't.
going to give Steven a chance.
Oh. Stairway to Heaven?
No. Zane,
It's Giant's Causeway.
it's Giants Cause.
Mm,
Okay.
nice.
Yeah, you're a little slow on that, Mr. Chair. All right, final question. In which South American country can you find the Salar de Uyuni, the world's largest salt flat that creates a mirror-like surface after rainfall? Zane, did I see your hand first?
Yeah.
Argentina.
No. Alden, I saw yours go up.
Peru.
No. Steve,
Venezuela.
no. Alden, what do you got?
Chile.
No.
Damn. Me and Zach are wrong.
Zane,
Uruguay.
no.
Dang, man.
Alden,
Paraguay?
nope. I think we're running
The
out
other
of
Guay? Yeah, me and Zach are in step here. Like,
Zane.
Bolivia.
The answer is Bolivia.
is it really?
Wow.
I thought it was further south.
Which they had hyperinflation in the 80s.
Bolivia.
Yeah, it was like
It's all the cocaine.
1,200%.
Okay.
They were printing cocaine.
There's no tiebreaker because we got two because everyone did. But who wants to do it just for fun?
Sure.
Yeah, let's do it.
If someone gets it exactly dead on, they win. All right.
What?
Sweet.
Because
Is it
you're
that
not going
like
to do it.
specific or okay?
If you have to guess, it's a number because I made something that was a number because a tiebreaker would be who's closest, right?
Okay. Zane might
So-
have something to say about it if someone gets it, but
So this is a
but then Zane will probably get it. So
okay. Let's bring it up and see. In addition to being known as the Steel City, the City of Champions, and simply the Berg, Pittsburgh is also known as the City of Bridges for having this many bridges. Alden,
27.
no. Well, not. Who else wants to put a guess in? We're just going to do one number each. And Steve,
78.
Zane.
79.
Well, technically Zane would win, but you guys are way off. The
Is
number
it really?
446.
Oh my
What?
God.
Wow.
That is ridiculous.
Hills and valleys, rivers and valleys, right?
That's like
Rivers and hills and valleys.
more than the brain cell count I think I have left.
So it wasn't really that special then that while Biden was on his way there to talk about roads and bridges, that a bridge collapsed that was on his route.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that was weird. Because that was, I mean, I'd driven on that one plenty of times, but there was another one that's a massive bridge downtown that I remember several years ago they were doing work on it, and they had PVC underneath it, and that caught on fire and nearly collapsed the bridge.
How
And
did the
this is
PVC
about
catch on fire?
climate change, I guess.
Space lasers.
Yes.
I don't know. They were welding and the PVC caught on fire, and anytime PVC goes up on fire, you know.
Yeah, that fire doesn't go out.
It's
Typically.
really bad smoke. Yeah.
And it was
I've had
crazy.
some potato guns go wrong, and you just gotta
You're
walk away from it.
spraying
Yeah.
spray on the inside.
No, that clogs the threads. I was using a gas turpentine mixture,
Mm.
and actually had some solder in the threads of the PVC. Just a little bit of solder, just enough so that way it wouldn't melt the threads when you had some blowback.
Right.
But it gave just enough force, and the 1/2-inch tube was just enough to ram a line inside of it, and that thing went to the next zip code, brother. That was amazing.
Those are fun, man. I haven't done anything like
Yeah.
that in a while.
Pull up Warren's comment. Yeah, so the Three Sisters, those are like 3 bridges that go from downtown Pittsburgh to the North Shore. So
But
that would
apparently
be,
that's 3 of 400 plus. Like,
right. Yeah, that's the Roberto Clemente, the Andy Warhol, and the Rachel Carson. But then there's also on the same side the Fort Duquesne. Again, we're back to that. That crosses right above that area to the Fort Pitt, which is a fun one. But then up a little bit, it's the Liberty Bridge, which is the one that almost collapsed from a PVC fire a couple years back. And that
so
was
how many?
because that's like the
All
second.
those.
That's the
All
bridge
those.
that goes to the second. That's the bridge that goes to the second set of tunnels to get through the mountain on the southern side. And
What collapsed the 400 bridge in Atlanta a few years
PVC.
ago? Was it
Right?
PVC?
I thought it was PVC.
Okay.
Well, there was like a homeless encampment or something, or homeless.
Yeah, there we go. There's all kind of
construction materials being stored underneath, and all of a
That's
sudden
what they
it goes
said it
up
was,
because
yeah.
of climate change.
Yeah.
Then climate change happened.
Someone broke out a Ouija board and summoned General Sherman, and then the bridge collapsed.
Exactly. So, yeah, he's still burning Atlanta from the afterlife, right?
Right. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, PVC. That's what I was getting at, though. Obviously Atlanta needs some Pittsburgh bridge builders to, show us how to only let our bridge collapse when the president comes to town.
And also, no one died in that collapse. But we got the really funny picture of the Port Authority bus sitting there hanging off of the side, and then everyone's. Yeah, that was almost as big as when a sinkhole opened downtown and one of the Port Authority buses fell into it backwards, and everyone
dude,
turned into a
DOT
giant
up there.
meme, like,
I can send you some memes. There's your DOT up there is notoriously awful.
oh, let me pull this.
they're apparently
This
really
was just
good at finding
this was a Babylon
sinkholes.
B article, like the other day.
Well, yeah, because there's plenty of
Let me pull
sinkholes.
this up. So this was an article I literally saw yesterday. I'm going to drop this in the chat. Yeah, the biggest pros and cons of living in each state. It's a Babylon B article that came out like, I don't know, a day or two ago, August 12th, so last week. Yeah, pull that up
Oh, that'd be great.
if you want to pull that up, Zach. But yeah, that's actually the joke. Yeah, scroll down to Pennsylvania real quick, and then we'll run through this list because there's some good ones. Georgia, Chick-fil-A, everywhere you look, you can't help but see stinks in the background.
Amen. This is great.
Oh. Michigan, everything that's not Detroit, con Detroit. Montana, let's stick on a Jake. Montana, there's nothing but wide open land, con No, seriously, there's nothing but wide open land. New Hampshire, the slogan is "Liberty or Die," a libertarian philosophy. Con, the slogan has attracted many libertarians. Ohio, it's not Michigan, Con, it's Ohio.
Nice.
There we go.
Pennsylvania, pro, you can live in an uppity city or in the backwoods with the Amish, Con. PennDOT. Note, we
Yep.
have no clue what this means, but our B writer from Pennsylvania said locals will find this hilarious. If you locals don't like it, please let us know and he will be sacked. And I'm gonna say no. That made me laugh when I saw it because they are
Dude, we've done some surveys before for telecom, and we just had to verify what the width of the right of way was in a certain area. Okay, so I called the county. I said, hey, just want to verify what the width of the right of way is. All the records in the area just say to the road or along the road. Doesn't tell me how far out of the center line of the road is the right of way. 20 minutes later, I get a call from somebody from PennDOT. And this guy, I swear to you, it sounded like he was from New York. It sounded like he was barefoot in his office and smoking a cigar with his feet on the desk. And he was like, hey, I heard you had a request for the right-of-way width. What are you doing in the area? You building? You got a permit?
Where was this
No.
area? Was it Philadelphia area?
It was Allegheny County.
Oh, that's Pittsburgh.
You got a permit? No. What are you building? I'm not building anything. We're surveying. No permits get approved unless they go through me first. I know everything. I was like, okay. I was like, we're not building
Except
anything.
for
I
what a
just need to know what
surveyor
the width
is.
of the right of way is. He's like, who's asking? I was like, I can't tell you that. He's like, well, I can't tell you what the right of way is. That's public information. And he goes, not anymore. I run it. And hangs up the phone. And I'm like, what the hell just happened?
He's
Yeah,
making
that
up
sounds about right.
rules as he goes, man.
Yeah.
You can't tell me a shitty PennDOT story and me be surprised. Like, it's the common joke around here that you drive by road construction and there's 6 people standing around doing nothing and 2 people working.
One person in a hole, 6 people looking at him,
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
commenting
Yeah.
on him dig, like
A common
eating a
joke to
sandwich.
make about it.
And 4 people holding up those stop signs.
Yeah. And then now they've got the person that has to drive you. They have to like lead you, and then they got to drive back. Is this like just where I live, or is this everywhere now? That the lead, it's like the follow the leader car that's got the stupid sign on the back that's like follow me. This never used to be a thing, and now it's a thing, and it takes twice as long because they don't let you go more than 5 miles a fucking hour.
I don't know what union that is, but I hate them.
Yeah. Oh, it's awful.
Yeah.
I need a beer.
Yeah. Thank you for the raise in wages, but that stuff right there,
Yeah.
Just
not
to correct
happy
the
for that.
record, unions are not responsible for having ever raised any wages, or at least not most of them.
I don't know. Tell that to UPS, man. The Teamsters are doing a pretty good job of making sure the drivers get paid $170K. And all the headlines we see.
You just ran Yellow out of business, though.
Right.
So,
Now,
yeah, $170K to drive UPS made me like, maybe I should go join. Maybe I should just go drive.
well,
UPS.
and then you read the article, and it's pretty clear to mention that, on top of pension and benefits, they make an average of this and this and this. Okay, so that just means they cost UPS $170K. They're bringing home maybe 95, which is still pretty sweet.
For a driver? Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Well, and then once you retire, you do your 25 years. UPS is still one of those companies. The only other ones I know of like that are like the railroad companies, where you do 25 years, you get your Rolex, you get your party with the crappy cake and the Diet Coke, and then you go and you collect 60% of your paycheck for the rest of your life that transfers, to the rest of your family if you croak early.
I don't know why croak is just a funny word to me.
But yeah, that's a. Anyway, yeah, that Babylon Beat article, great. And that was a good game of trivia. I quite enjoyed that. It was a little
I
bit out
also
of
quite enjoyed it.
I'll bet you
Yeah,
did.
you correct.
I'll bet you did.
But see, I knew you
did
do
too,
enough
Zane.
about
I
the
love
spirit.
watching you work, brother. I don't know how else to say it, man.
No,
I just
honestly, I'm
knew that
only.
you knew. I knew that. I thought, this is my one chance to do this. But also, like, I know Zane has enough connections to the area that, like, he might be able to pick up on this.
I'm only bitter about the Frank Lloyd Wright thing because it's like he's my guy. But
Yeah.
the name of the specific strike is crazy. I didn't know that. Homestead
Speaking of
or whatever.
local, speaking of
Oh,
local
that-
connections to the area, and that article bringing up, living around Amish people as a pro of being in Pennsylvania. I don't know, Nick, if you've ever heard of or been to this place, but my family on multiple occasions when we lived up in Maryland went to this amusement park. I think it was called like Dutch Wonderland or something. And it's like a Pennsylvania Dutch themed amusement park. It's wild.
I'm guessing that's like out in Amish country.
Yeah, that might
Yeah,
be a
that's
little
where
bit
I'm
east
at.
of you.
That'd
Is
be
there-
way-
Is
like-
there any alcohol sold?
I can't remember. This was like 12 or 13 years ago. With
The,
this.
lo-
Yeah.
the local amusement park in Pittsburgh is called Kennywood, and they do sell beer there now. But also they tried to switch from Heinz ketchup because some buyer, because after it was sold to a larger company at some point, some purchaser in the buying department said, "Oh, this is probably cheaper to switch to this ketchup," and they didn't realize that that would
Heinz
be a
is like the
scandal.
thing there.
And it was a scandal that rocked the whole city for about 2 weeks. They came out. It's like, no, we're not switching the ketchup. Like, we are not switching the ketchup.
Yeah.
None of that Hunt's ketchup.
That'd
Right.
be
They
like,
switched it to Hunts because I'm guessing they probably got a better deal. And then the whole city erupted. And it was
that'd be
like
trying to
headline news
switch your
here,
chocolate at Hershey, Pennsylvania, to
which is
Mars
an amusement
bars.
park. It's also
Yeah.
Hershey Parks. And when I pass that, I like to stop by Chocolate World because it's great. But
And then you have
Yeah,
the
that's a good
Ticonderoga pencil.
Is that a ride?
No,
What is that?
the Ticonderoga. It's an iconic pencil. If you ever
A pencil?
drew anything, yeah, screw the. I mean, they were the pioneers of the number 2 pencil in my mind. Anybody that had a little art kit that was doing sketches and stuff in school growing up, it was oh, you have the Ticonderoga pencil. Oh my gosh,
Is this a mechanical or just a standard pencil?
just standard pencil.
Well, then,
But they had all the different weights and the shades and everything you needed for
Okay.
the standard art kit.
okay,
but-
like the different hardness of the graphite
Yeah,
or whatever.
but they're made in
Okay.
Pennsylvania.
Come to think of it,
Pennsylvania.
Ticonderoga would be a really good name for a log flume ride.
Right?
Ticonderoga's
Pencil-shaped
Ticonderoga's in
lines.
New York, though.
Is it really?
Fort Ticonderoga's in New York, up on the Canadian border or something.
I think we need to start an amusement park, but then change the name to Pennsylvania, like PENCIL, and have every ride be pencil themed, like the log flume. It would be a big flop, but it would be fun to
Look,
design.
there's already an Amish theme park. There's already a chocolate theme park. Kennywood just went all out and made a Steelers Nation section of the theme park. Like,
Nice.
our theme parks are themed enough.
Oh yeah, Kennywood, because of Kenny Pickett. Hopefully he turns out good. If he turns out to be a bust, that would be a big waste of money.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's only his second year, and the Steelers thing's been around for probably 2 or 3 years, maybe. I can't remember. But yeah,
This is our year.
I mean, yeah, Kenny's going to do just fine. He did great at Pitt, lit up those victory lights in the cathedral, learning plenty of times.
He's a talented receiver, man, for real. Steelers know how to draft receivers.
Oh, absolutely. Heinz Ward, you kidding me?
Dude, he's my man, dude.
Oh,
Heinz Ward was a fucking
Heinz Ward
G.
was sick, dude. He would take a hit that would give anybody else a concussion that would send them out on the sidelines for 2 weeks, and he'd get up
He
and
gave-
smile.
He gave with
Blow
a
the guy a
smile
kiss.
is the best detail.
Yeah.
He would
Bonus.
give a block like a fullback, man. Like,
bonus trivia question: When arriving in the Pittsburgh airport and heading down the escalator to the train, there are two statues you pass. Who are those 2 statues? Zane?
William Penn and Ben Roethlisberger.
No.
those are great guesses, though.
Steve?
Troy Polamalu and Heinz Ward.
No. Alden?
Bill Cowher and Paul Bunyan.
George Washington and Franco Harris.
Franco Harris, interesting. I barely heard it because your mic cut out, but I know the name so well. But I was like
Yeah.
able to get it.
So
My next guess was going to be Jack Lambert, but
yeah, no, just the most iconic play in football history.
There we go. So apparently I've fallen prey to the Mandela effect. Ticonderoga is definitely in New York, but I'm pretty sure I had one that was made in Pennsylvania.
you had a
It was
knockout.
Hershey scented, so that might have helped. It was one of the pencils you scratch it and you smell it.
Oh man, I remember scratch and sniff was like a thing when I was a kid. Like,
Oh yeah.
honestly, we were. Did you have scented markers too? Like, why were we training kids?
Oh,
to
scented
sniff
markers. Those were the best.
What? It's so.
Whenever
good,
I
but it's-
whenever I was trying to find a marker out of like a marker bin, you would search for several minutes trying to find one of the scented ones.
Yeah,
Just so
yeah.
you could sniff it the entire time.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And then if
Such
you
a
run
bad
out,
idea.
just dip a rag in gasoline and just supplement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just like color with ether, kids. It's fine. man.
Right.
Yeah, such a bad idea. But like, I'm so glad someone came up with that really bad idea. Hours of entertainment. I never ate paste though, but I huffed a lot of markers as a kid. It might
Well,
explain.
Tide Pods. Did you eat Tide Pods?
No, I don't-
See, and they missed something too. If they're eating Tide Pods, they don't realize there's popcorn on the ceiling. You don't ever have to go hungry.
I haven't even done the cinnamon challenge. I'm definitely not doing the Tide Pod challenge.
Hey, Zach, can we pull up Zane's letter?
You say
to
cinnamon
the
challenge?
Politicians.
Yeah, the spoonful of dry cinnamon. See
that
if
a
you can swallow
possibility?
without coughing or whatever.
Oh,
I've
okay.
heard that it's
Okay.
physiologically impossible. To
That's
do.
hence the challenge. Like, yeah.
Yeah, like the whole thing about like chugging a gallon of milk.
So
Ooh,
if you
a gallon
if
of
you can
anything
do
is
it,
a bad idea.
then we know you're a lizard person, right?
There you go.
That's the tell.
I say I've witnessed somebody chug a gallon of milk. I remember hearing that one.
A gallon is a lot
Yeah.
of liquid of anything.
And by the way, though, he could not eat a pickled quail egg afterward because that was my challenge.
To fit it, is that what it is, or
No, pickled quail eggs, sizable, but it's
a quail egg?
yeah.
Why is it so big? Quail eggs are tiny. I thought.
All right. So I want to
think quail
highlight
eggs are like-
Zane's doing some of the hard work here and giving public comment to the rulers. So he didn't go in person, but he wrote a letter and they have to read it into the record. So we got the video of him writing to the politicians up.
So just for a
Next
bit of
public
background
speaker.
before you play, it, the Board of Commissioners were considering raising the millage rate, and one of the main reasons why is longtime listeners of the show will know that they are considering building a new jail that's going to cost them $1.7 billion. And Stephen pointed out that a lot of NFL stadiums cost less than that. And so I took the liberty of researching how much it costs to build Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and this public comment was the result.
And no Mercedes-Benz
Next
Stadium
public
has
speaker.
ever caused anyone to die from from bed
A
bugs.
bed bug. Yeah.
Hello, this is from Zane Placie, chairman of the Libertarian Party of Fulton County. I regret that I cannot speak to you in person. The Fulton County Commissioners are planning to raise our taxes to spend $1.7 billion on a new jail. For context, adjusted for inflation, Mercedes-Benz Stadium cost $1.79 billion to build. The commissioners are building the Mercedes-Benz Stadium of jails and are reaching into your pocket to pay for it. Not to mention that this vanity project comes on the heels of one of the inmates being eaten to death by bed bugs. Apparently, nothing short of $1.7 billion can possibly prevent this from happening again. For the commissioners, the formula is simple. Squander any amount of money they get, then complain that they need even more. We should not be enabling this embarrassing behavior. The next public speaker. Hello, this is from Zane Placie.
Oh, that's
Nice.
great.
Well
it must
done.
have helped. It must have helped because in the vote after that, they actually did not raise the millage rate. So there were several other speakers there.
Oh,
too.
really?
Look at Zane
but
stopping
yeah.
tax increases.
Yeah.
All right.
Good
Stopping
job,
tax
dude.
increases.
Yeah. Cheers. I'll drink to that.
Yeah.
It's hard when you tell them, hey, you one of the nicest stadiums in the NFL. You're going to build that for a jail because you can't stop bed bugs from killing people.
Yeah. Right? right? And then you look at the bona fides of Sheriff Labatt, and it's like the dude did nothing. You know, like he got Jailer of the Year while you've got
Why do we even have
these people
Jailer
were running
here?
drugs. Yeah, exactly. Like, why is that even a thing? That's horrible. But then you have, you know, inmates getting cell phones, ordering drugs, buying drugs. You've got a rapper that does a music video and just freaking leaves at the end of his video. You know, like, and this is the same place you expect a U.S. president to serve a term for a phone call. I'm like, it's just it's baffling. Good job. Did they really not raise the millage rate because of that?
Well, I mean,
Who's to say?
it probably wasn't solely because of my comment, but they did not. They voted to not raise it.
I'm
There
going
you
to
go.
say it was.
We're gonna pretend that it was because of your comment. And honestly, taking one from like the Zach playbook, it might be great to throw op-eds out to like see if it gets picked up to like the AJC or something next time something like that comes up. Because you know you mentioned stuff like that, and maybe the AGC might actually pick it up. Because I know Zach was kind of successful during the Mons campaign with like putting out op-eds in those areas and getting the smaller papers to pick it up. So I don't know. It's hard to tell. Would the AJC rather you comment on like the deplorable conditions in the Fulton County jail and spending $1.7 billion for a new one, or would they rather taxes increase? Because progressives like to spend money. I don't
Right.
know, but there's at least enough there that you might be able to actually get published on it, and you know, something to keep in mind because op-eds are easy. You crank that out by writing by using ChatGPT.
Well, and here's a novel idea. You know, Sheriff Labatt, how about you decriminalize marijuana? You know,
Then
you
you
don't
won't
need a
need-
legislator for that. You don't need a legislator for that. All you have to do is a public announcement that you're going to instruct your deputies to anything under an ounce. You're just going to stomp it out on the sidewalk, slap the guy in the face, and tell him to go home.
Well,
Minus
you also
stick of the
you're
slap.
not. You also tell them you're not using our jail for this. You're not bringing them here. Go figure something.
That's
out.
what I was
Yes,
gonna say,
yes,
you won't need the
that
space.
stuff. Yes, you know, Sheriff Babb has done it in Fayette County. Okay, DeKalb, they've done the same thing. You know, it's been a
I
little
like
more
this
quiet there.
idea. I like
You
this
know, but
push
it's
of, like,
it's one of those things where, you know, as a sheriff, you have the constitutional authority to even hold a national press conference and tell your state legislator and the federal legislator, I'm the enforcer and I ain't doing that. Y'all
I
are
like
out of your
that.
minds.
I wish more would
And
do
guess
that.
what,
honestly.
feds? You're not using my facilities to enforce your gun laws either.
There you go. You're
That's
asking
true.
me to exceed my budget, and I'm not going to squeeze the local populace to appease you. Screw you. I live with them. These are my neighbors, my friends, and my family, and my coworkers. I'm standing with them. And
they
that's what
all
we
smoke
need
weed.
is our sheriffs. Okay. So as much as we hate, you know, police abuse of power, this is how we overturn federal tyranny.
Well,
Is
that's
through
a
our
smart
local sheriffs.
use of power. That's a smart
Yep.
use of like jurisdiction to make something just truly better for your community, and just like if the on a national level, if we're just not
And
going
that's what we're trying to
progress
do
that
here.
point.
That's the strategy we're pushing it. At least I'm pushing is like this whole local, like, and even as you don't even have to get sheriff, like being a sheriff in a state like Georgia where there's 5,000 counties and there's a ton of
159.
positions open.
Nice try.
Yeah, but
You know,
yeah,
I
there's
like
a lot.
1,000.
But
It's a lot.
even
It's
like
so many.
being a mayor, being getting a couple friends and just being like, hey, we're gonna go take over the city council and like just kind of do whatever we want. We're gonna say, yeah, we're not enforcing this, we're not doing that, we're telling the local cops we're not doing this, we're not doing that, you feds are staying out of here, we're doing this. There's a whole bunch of stuff you could just roll in there and do. I mean, you just need a couple people. I mean, city councils in a small town, maybe 5-6 people. You get 4 of your friends from different parts of town and you're just like, yeah, we're just gonna go do this. I mean, it's pretty simple, right?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
at the city level, I was looking into this a couple days ago. I found an article from a couple years ago. So in Sandy Springs, which is in Fulton County, the city got so fed up with people that they were trying to charge with drug crimes, having to wait forever to ever have their court case come up in the Fulton County court system, they decided that instead of doing that, they were just gonna start issuing disorderly conduct tickets for like crack, and so if they found you with crack, they just write you a $50 ticket and send you on your way, which is, you know, pretty awesome.
For crack, that's pretty mild for crack, I would say.
Well, I mean, if you get caught with it, if you get like with crack, like if you're dumb enough to like, I'm going to smoke this on the sidewalk in front of City Hall. Like if you're like, at that point, you're addicted to crack. Like you have no common sense or sense of public decency. You don't care if kids or you know, women or anything like that see you, you know, murdering yourself on the sidewalk. Like at that point, you know, if you get caught in the middle of the city center with crack, you've got a problem. And your problem shouldn't be that the government hates you. You know, your problem should be that you're addicted to crack and you need help.
Yeah, I'm not sure if in these parts, I'm not sure if they were like actually using it out in the open or if cops had just stopped them for some other reason and found that they had these hard drugs on them. I also can't remember if it was specifically crack or if it was some other hard drug, but it was hard drugs that they were doing this for.
Gotcha. Well, you know, most of it applies to most hard drugs.
What classifies a hard drug?
I mean, if you're, well, I guess anything harder than weed is hard.
That's, well, I mean, sure, but
yeah,
I say this just because, like, when you get into like, you know, enforcing things and laws and whatnot, like if we're gonna theorize about like how to go about it or whatever, like everyone has a different idea of what a hard drug is, and some people include weed in there, you know, so.
If you count weed as a hard drug, then there is no such thing as a soft drug.
There you go. Well, and you're probably Ronald Reagan at that
Caffeine.
point.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Zach was saying crackheads can always run for mayor of D.C. Amen to that, brother. Let's not forget that one.
Wasn't that governor of Florida also?
And Toronto, Canada.
The guy running for Florida governor.
Yeah, what was it? It was
Andrew Gillum.
Andrew Gillum. Andrew Gillum was in Florida. Toronto that was one of the Fords.
Oh, Rob Ford.
Yeah,
I don't remember if it was Rob
Ford. He got reelected.
So not just running, but elected.
He got reelected. Like he got caught with some gay stuff and smoking crack, and got reelected. And they were like, "That's my guy."
Because there were two Ford brothers.
We need crack pipe vending machines on every corner right now.
Doug Ford, right? And I think Rob Ford's dead now.
Yeah,
but Doug Ford's I think still doing something.
And then the DC, was that Marion Barry?
Yeah,
I can't remember that.
Yeah,
it's hard to keep track which politicians or their kids are crackheads these days.
Oh man, and I meant to send this to the show notes, but you know, my wife was playing a Facebook reel, and it was you know, this guy was listening to something, and this guy was rattling off all these stats, like all these, you know, criminal conspirators or charges that are levied against these folks, and he's like, 73 of the members of this organization, you know, committed assault and battery. 78 committed, you know, drug trafficking charges, and he just rattles off this long laundry list. Lasts like a minute and a half, right? And he's like, and you would say, 2 of these were murderers, you know, 3 of these were thieves. And he's like, and you would think this sounds like the NBA or the NFL, right? No, it's the U.S. Congress.
I saw that. Yeah. It reminded me of the meme back in the day here, where it was like one of these 2 people is a convicted felon, and it was like Snoop Dogg on the Martha Stewart show or whatever, and then it was like, you're probably a racist. Like, if your assumption was, you know, that it was Snoop Dogg. Yeah. This is after her.
Well, Snoop Dogg's a racist because he has that 19 Crimes wine.
The wine?
And,
I forgot.
And every Kroger that put that on a central display got in trouble.
What's the meaning? What's the 19 crimes thing? What's that about?
Well, apparently a majority of the 19 criminals on the wine bottles. So there's 19 different labels of like, this is a criminal, and it's all stuff from like 100 years ago. But apparently the majority of the 19 criminals on his 19 Crimes wine brand are minorities.
So each label's a different person.
So it's racist, but it's like, but Snoop Dogg made it. So is it really? Can it be? I don't know.
I mean, Could be, sure, I guess.
Yeah.
Could be, right?
You
And-
can call
and,
anything
you know,
racist.
the
It was
answer in
a
Metro
black guy.
Atlanta is yeah. Well, and the answer in Metro Atlanta is it's only racist if the store manager that created the display is not black.
Mm.
That
Yeah.
sounds about right.
Because those are the only ones that really care about it, basically.
So
Right.
was it racist or not at the murder Kroger?
Well, Murder Kroger got sold. It's not Kroger anymore.
What is
By
it
the
now?
way, for everybody listening, Murder Kroger is off of Ponce, near the Ponce City Market, which it's at the start of the Beltline. Same block corner of the Murder Kroger as we deem it. You have New Realm Brewing Company, and you have the Ponce City Market, which is the start of a good time. You can go to Ponce, get a couple of beers, rent a scooter, go to New Realm, get a few beers, same scooter, keep the rental, go across the
more
corner
beers.
to Orpheus Brewing, which they went out of business recently. But there's a little, you can rent a scooter and within a 3-mile route, you can go to like 7 breweries.
It's a good
Pretty
time.
cool.
Speaking of murder and good times, I walked out of my apartment here today, going to my car, and I noticed that the car parked like next to mine in my parking lot had a window with a bag over it, and I was like, shit, like, do I gotta watch out for someone like smashing windows here? I thought they got like, someone took a purse out of the car kind of thing or something like that. Then I noticed bullet holes on the side of the car, and I'm like, oh, that wasn't a robbery, that was like a drive-by situation or something. Like, so I'm still learning my new neighborhood here, and that was a bit of an eye-opener. So
Zach
we'll
says
see how
Disco
that goes.
Kroger is Publix or becoming a Publix. So
Publix got expensive, man. I went in there the other day. I haven't shopped in there in like 8 years, but like, good God, can't afford
Which
anything in there now.
Disco Kroger, was
I don't
that
know
the
which
one where like raves randomly broke out in the parking lot?
Oh, it wasn't random.
yeah, I don't. For anyone listening, Atlanta names their Krogers after things. Like
Is that
Murder
what's
Kroger,
going on? Is it like a
Kroger.
official thing?
It's a thing. It's a
Yeah.
thing.
Oh yeah. One and it has more to do with the neighborhood than the Kroger. It just happens that
so it's not like an official. It's like a moniker given by the people, not the store.
It's commonly known. Yeah, no store's gonna call itself Murder Kroger.
Yeah, well, and
We
that's
are proudly
I grew up very close to Peachtree City, Georgia. The home of golf carts and fops and upper class people that aren't worried about much, but hate teenagers at the same time. And there's a CVS in Peachtree City that I now call the Murder CVS because someone got murdered there just a few months ago.
Yeah,
they were out of town, and now everybody's like, "Oh, we need to stop Highway 54 from going through the middle of Peachtree City." And everyone's like, do you realize how crazy that is? Like, you don't want a highway to go through your town because someone from out of town got shot in a parking lot? Like, that's not going to stop what you're asking for.
A new highway coming in.
The murder happened without the highway being there.
That's what I was just going to say.
Right? They were off the highway in the parking lot.
Yeah.
It's just that's where the guy stopped for a cherry Coke after banging the other dude's wife. And other dude caught up with him. That's what happened. So, if it wasn't there, it'd be somewhere else.
My buddy
Would
works.
you rather be the Dunkin' Donuts or the Brewsters or the Publix? Like,
Zach says Murder Kroger tried to rebrand as Beltline Kroger, and no one went for it.
no one went for it because someone was getting shot and killed there every 2 months, at least. Because it's like I said, it's the start of the Beltline, which while the sun's up is a very beautiful place. Amazing place to be. Have the family there, go shopping, go hang out. Apparently Atlanta is one of the top cities in the country for their nature preserves. I wasn't aware of that, but I do know the Beltline is pretty cool.
Strip clubs.
What's that?
Strip clubs. Nature preserves and strip clubs.
Nature preserves and strip club. Yeah, Magic City has world-renowned hot wings. And I can confirm they're pretty good. But
those
the
are three
murder
good things.
Yeah, exactly. Well, because I'm confirming that from like 10 years ago, like 7 years ago when I got married, or
Yeah,
2 days before I got married.
we all trust that you went there for the wings and nothing else.
That's exactly right. I went there for the wings and the discussion of
support
undergrad
small
law
business.
school.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's that's all the law school undergrads were hanging out there and having some hot wings and discussing, various things of legal aspects. But yeah, the murder Kroger, people would just get shot and killed there all the time. And of course, it's right around the corner. It's the old Sears building, the Pont City Market now. It's a really cool place to go. Of course, after the sun goes down, unless you're on the roof, it ain't safe.
Sounds like it's not safe necessarily anytime.
There's Alden flicking a knife open.
Right.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, this is whatever's nearest is just my ADHD little thing. It could be a measuring tape, or it could be a pen or a knife, or
You
just
don't have a pistol there. You're just
loaded
sitting there
gun,
racking up
or
your-
Yes.
I don't know, 5 feet behind me, whatever.
Just loading clips with all his magazines.
Dude, honestly, that is sometimes a magazine, like thumbing the rounds in a magazine is like a good ADHD little like tick thing. Like,
Oh yeah.
it really
Come
is,
back.
honestly.
Come back next week to see Alden swinging a long sword during the episode.
Yeah. I got a machete.
There you go.
Going. Yeah.
I got a wild hair one time. I went to a local yard sale and I found some commas, KAMA.
What
They're
is
like
that?
little mini SIDS.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right next to the semicolons.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. And I tied some leather straps to them and I had them wrapped around my arm, and just from the old rave glow sticking days, I could I realized pretty quickly, I could swing commas like Chuck Norris in an '80s movie. Like, oh, this is pretty fun. And
At what point in the story did you bleed out? Like,
and then one hit me in the head at 400 miles an hour, and that was not fun.
no.
Yeah.
No.
So I'm with you on the nervous ticks. I mean, there's some things I'm like, oh, cool, I'm gonna click this and swing it, and then all of a sudden, like, oh, I'm bleeding. This isn't fun anymore.
Yeah. I'm also the kind of person that I won't even notice that I'm bleeding. Like, if I'm engaged in something else, I'll look down and be like, oh God, like, and I'll have it later. Like, we could talk another whole time about like personality types and cognitive functions or whatever, but my body sensing is like my lowest of my functions. Anyway,
There we go.
So
Well,
I won't
hey,
even know.
If we've descended to the silly portion of the show, I've got a saying. I've been waiting to say this, and
Okay.
I've written it down multiple times throughout the week. I heard it at the beginning of the week, and it was hilarious, and it stuck, and it's been resonating with me. It's garlic is the ketchup of the intellectuals,
What?
and
Wow, so-
I've never heard a truer saying, because it was I heard it. I was listening to another podcast, and I was doing some meal prep over the weekend, and
Silly person checking in.
yeah, buddy.
Our intellectuals.
Yeah.
just
Hey,
afraid
buddy.
of vampires.
Have you ever heard that garlic is the ketchup of the intellectuals? And have you ever heard anything more true? I was doing some meal prep, and I just realized, like, oh my God, we used all the garlic in that. And then Mary's like, oh well, we've got a whole week's worth of meals already cooked. I guess it's fine. And then I hear that, and I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. It's the ketchup
So-
of the intellectuals. Now I feel special.
Pop trivia question here. What is garlic called, like affectionately referred to in the culinary world? Does anyone know I didn't plan this or write this out or whatever, but it's called the Pope. Like
The what?
the Pope, that's what people call garlic, like when you're adding it to a dish. Because
Oh, really?
you got the Holy Trinity. The mirepoix, right, is the
Yeah.
onion, carrot, celery, and then garlic is the fourth, the Pope. Like when people add that into the mirepoix. Like,
Okay.
Cooking trivia, but
Buddy says he knows what the difference between chickpeas and garbanzo beans are.
Okay, all right, buddy, you got to type it because I've got an answer for this, and it's related to Donald Trump, and I don't know if you're going the same direction with it.
I got 1% on my battery, and I don't
There we go.
Here.
He's never had a garbanzo bean on his face. That's right.
That's like the difference between jelly and
Of course,
jam.
that was the answer.
It's a good time for me. I gotta leave. I have no battery life, but that was a good ending, buddy. I appreciate you, and I had fun with you guys.
There you go. Cheers, Alden.
All right.
Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, man.
All right, we'll wrap this up tonight with
Well, hey, can we talk about Hawaii for a second? Can we talk about Maui? Can we go into that?
All right, quickly, Hawaii, and then we got to talk Argentina because there's fun stuff happening there.
There we go, and the Biden laptop revelations, because apparently Homeboy was using a pseudonym while he was VP.
All right, let's get all three.
I can get you all a link. We can talk about that too.
Let's start with Hawaii. All right.
Okay, so Hawaii
was this the Chinese space lasers or not?
No, that's it's sexy and it's intriguing to think that while they were doing topographic mapping, they would later send in another balloon to ignite things. And by the way, good night, Grumpy. And it's really sexy to think that. But then you look at the video, and apparently, and now you're reading some other stories. There's some other stories that have come out. Occam's razor has prevailed. Okay. So the whole Chinese laser thing, while frickin' laser beams is a nice, sexy, political theorized story to think about, what really happened in this case, which is the case with most fires that get out of control, human negligence. Human negligence. So, what created the fire doesn't matter at this point. Doesn't matter. What allowed the fire to get out of control? DEI. And I'm talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion, fellas. I'm talking about there is a certain tribal leader down in Maui that controls whether or not the fire department can use certain water supplies to put out fires. People's houses, people's businesses, the town is on fire, and this man is using his ancestral lineage as leverage to say you can't put that fire out to save a human life.
Diversity, equity, inclusion, more like diversity, inclusion, and equity. Am I right?
Yeah. Exactly. And I sent you guys a link in the chat this week, but it was the guy's name is Kaleo something or other, and he's not related to the band at all. There it is. Yeah.
Our authorizing statute to protect and manage all water resources in the state. One Water is like looking at it from a holistic system perspective, and that's not any different than how Hawaiians traditionally managed water. And in essence, Native Hawaiians treated water as one of the earthly manifestations of a god and a kua kane, and so that reverence for a resource and that reciprocity in relationship was something that was really, really important to our worldview and well-being, right? And living in an island and isolated from other, civilizations. And so I think where it shifted to today or over time is that we've become used to looking at water as like something which we use and not necessarily something that we revere as that thing that gives us life, right? I mean, to me, it's a shift in value set. And, if we can start to really look at how we as humans in an island can reconnect to that traditional value set. So really my motto is always like, let water connect us and not divide us. Like we can share it, but it requires true conversations about equity.
True conversations about equity. There we go. Okay, so over 2/3 of the planet is made of this stuff.
Tribal leader. Well, you said like a tribal leader. I was picturing a much older guy, not some millennial.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, he's a young rabble rouser, basically. But let's ignore the fact that 70% of the planet is made of water. Let's ignore that, and let's revere water. For the gift that it is. You live on a freaking island, bro. What are you talking about? Worshipping water as being scarce, valuing it over human life? Are you out of your mind? And the people that listen to this guy, can you imagine being with the fire department? Can you imagine being the guy that turned the hose off because this dude said no? I don't know. I just, at a certain level. So here's something else. Aside from the garlic comment earlier, this is something else that should stick with everybody. This should really convict you here. Just because something is common doesn't mean it's normal.
Okay.
Being common doesn't make it normal. Okay. So in today's society, especially, being normal makes you a freaking weirdo. Okay. If you really there's things that are programmed in you that if you grew up right, if you had parents that loved you and cared about you, you had a mother and a father in the same home, and you grew up with them, and you maybe had some brothers or sisters, and they really cared about you, and they worked their ass off and tried their hardest to put you through, get you a good education, and care for you and raise you right, and teach you how to think and use logic, you are going to stand out in today's society. You are going to be different. Okay? And stuff like this is exactly what we're talking about here, is blending in with people, being common doesn't make you normal. Being normal is adhering to the charge of your ancestors. Okay? And no, I'm not saying what your family did 200 years ago. Maybe. That's not what I'm saying. Just think about it for a second. What is your innate drive telling you to do? What are your instincts programmed into you? Because we have ancestral memory. Stuff that's happened in your family 200, 300, 400 years ago is programmed in you. If you encounter a similar situation, you're going to feel something in your gut. You're going to feel this tickle in the back of your shoulders. The hair on the back of your neck is going to raise up. There's something in your body going to tell you, this isn't right. I either need to leave or fight these people. And that is what I'm talking about. That's normal. Removing yourself from those situations. Can you imagine letting hundreds of people die because your skewed view of how your tribal ancestors viewed water? You're letting the lineage of your tribe burn because your island nation surrounded by water revered water. This is just wild to me. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong here.
Well, I found the funny part, like you said, you burnt up a village that was a town that was basically, from what I understand, still kind of largely held by a lot of the indigenous population. Maybe not largely, but there was a significant portion. And now you're already seeing, which I'm going to be honest, this is a little bit extremely scummy on the part of these real estate investors, but already coming in and say, hey, I'll buy your burned up land for you, which I get it. I mean, you got to try to move on people who might, but I get it. But then you have the governor of Hawaii coming out, oh, we might just ban selling that. I'm like, well, that's not the right answer either. But it is opening it up for, people need money, and, more than one's
really
going to
weird.
sell off their
There's
land.
another article I saw too. There's something else worth noting here. The high value properties in Maui, owned by the likes of Obama, Will Smith, Morgan Freeman, totally fine. Which those folks tend to be more selective with their investments because that's what they are. Let's be honest, and they tend to build them out of areas of concern. But aside from that, aside from those three that I mentioned, there is a preponderance of high value properties that are wildly untouched by this blaze. And then you have the stories of average mom and pop people holding hands, grabbing their kids, running into the ocean, ducking under the water just to dodge the flaming embers raining down on them, partially because this butthole says his ancestors revered water, and he wouldn't approve the fire department to turn on the hose.
My understanding, there are 111 deaths from this fire so far, and and there's still apparently 1,000 people unaccounted for, which is insane.
Yeah, Well, I mean, if there was a riptide that day, and you're having to run 1,000 feet out in the ocean to get away from the embers, done. Whole family's holding hands. Next thing you know, wave comes, bam, clack, clack, head against the rock. You don't come up.
So, yeah, unfortunate situation.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was the one thing I wanted to revisit from last week, because we were talking about, was it freaking laser beams? I don't know. It appears in this situation, Occam's razor has prevailed. The simplest solution is often the correct one. And here we have human negligence. There was someone in their local government told the fire department, don't turn on the hose. Not yet. Yeah. And then by the time he did, people were dead and the entire city was on fire.
Right. Yeah.
Imagine being the fireman, listening to that guy. And now this is coming out because, that's obviously this guy's going to catch some heat. Okay. Like he should. But who followed these orders? Who followed these orders? This guy, if this guy's some kind of, tribal elder, tribal leader, whatever, the tribe lives there.
Yeah.
Dude, you killed the tribe. Like, I just don't see the whole tribe going along with that and taking it in stride and just be like, oh, well, he's right. We have to revere water.
This is kind of the consequence of when you look at the earth as a god. I mean, he kind of spoke about it in those explicit terms, but even if you don't come out and say it explicitly, the entire kind of global warming, alarmist movement speaks in language about how, we're defiling the earth as though we're just a bunch of parasites and the earth itself is somehow, holy and in it, a good in and of itself, apart from how humans can use it. Steve, I know you're a Christian, I am as well. There's a difference between the earth being a gift from God, which I believe that it is, for us to use use and steward its resources, and it literally being a god, which leads you down some really dark paths.
There you go. Yeah, 100%. So, just bear that in mind, that, as you see in coming years that you have multiple U.S. used conglomerates, as well as multiple foreign national governments, and we'll say special interest groups, Davos, the Trilateral Commission, the Bilderbergs, BRICS nations, whatever, as they put the emphasis on climate change. They're going to do whatever they can to exacerbate natural disasters, to let them take their natural course. Whether it's, taking a knee instead of using a fire hose, or, whatever method it is, they're going to use that. And then they're going to use the videos and the photos of the devastation and the sadness and all the stuff in the wake of it to try to bludgeon you with it, to convince you that you're awful because you drive your 4 kids to soccer practice in a Chevy Suburban. Right. You need to live in the pod and eat your bugs. That's right. And just know, and even libertarians more and more are more dependent on technology and social media. Just know, because it appears normal doesn't make it normal. Just because it's common, just because it's everywhere. Oh, I've seen it everywhere. I see it all over the place. All these people are talking about it. That doesn't mean it's normal. Normal is what's in your gut. Normal is what your parents raised you to do, and what you've surmised is a good thing to do as an adult, using your rationale and logic. It's just, that's the only thing I can say about that. And it's gonna make you different. if you think logically, if you have a way to dissect and analyze data in a rational nature, it's going to make you stand out from society increasingly over the next years. Just know that, but there's going to be guys like us drinking beers and cutting up with you in the meantime.
That's the way it goes. All right. What was the next story you wanted to hit?
The Joe Biden pseudonym of Robert L. Peters, apparently, while he was vice president.
Let's hit that so that we have a good palate cleanser of Argentina.
All right, here we go.
So, Robert L. Peters, it was, you're saying is his pseudonym. Is this like Ron Mexico?
All right, let's see here. Let me try to find. I'm trying to find something to put in the chat real quick.
All right, so this is Biden's Ron Mexico moment then.
Yeah, and so I was going to make a bad joke about it tonight too, about like Carlos Danger and Robert Peters walk into a bar. There we go. That's the New York Post story. I hadn't really vetted that one yet. I was reading something on Zero Hedge today when I was messaging you guys about this. But apparently, Biden was using a laptop while he was VP. There we go. Zach may have found something better. Yeah, Robert L. Peters was the name, and it had a fake government email address and everything created. This is while he's vice president. So this is while Obama's president. You got Joe Biden over here with a fake name, fake email address.
So the emails are public record then, right?
Well, the House is making a motion to make this public record.
Okay.
And this is perhaps why the smokescreen of the Trump indictment is being thrown up. Because in the wake of this, Obama's coming out that, yeah, he's gay. Surprise, surprise.
Obama is?
Yeah.
Oh, we can kind of figure with this. Yeah.
And then you got the who's the guy, Larry Summers, that while he was a senator, Larry Summers is like, oh yeah, used to give him a blow and go for some coke back in the day while he was a senator. So all this stuff's coming out, but it just try to take some time to see through the smoke and mirrors and just realize what's going on here is that Joe Biden was monetizing the position of vice president while he was vice president.
Well,
and now 8 years later, he's president. What?
You kick 10% up to the big guy, right?
And that's 10% for the big guy. That kind of stuff. So now you see there was this dummy email address for Robert Peters. And there we go. Hey, Zach's bringing that one up. Good job, Jamie.
Our second gay president. All right.
our second one. What? Oh, yeah, Herbert Hoover.
No, Buchanan.
Oh, okay. Herbert Hoover.
Second black president, too.
The second one. Yes, that's right. Bill Clinton was the first black. Yeah. Herbert Hoover was a cross-dresser, apparently. Yeah. But, so now Obama's coming out saying that, he fantasized about men regularly, which is oddly timed that this is in the headlines now because, like, hey, didn't your chef just turn up dead while paddleboarding at Martha's Vineyard? Some of those mellow waters on the planet, like
for climate change.
There you go. Yeah.
Well, if Obama does regularly fantasize about men, it would explain a lot about how he ended up with Michelle.
Yep, we had to go there.
There we go. Yeah. Look, you can't deny the bulge on Jimmy Kimmel, okay? And the linebacker shoulders and it's just I've said it before with Brittany Griner, if she's got an apple, she's got a banana.
Oh my gosh, we need to end the episode.
Let's wash this off with some Javier Milei.
Yeah.
So this is in Spanish. Is someone going to read it or?
We'll just recap it.
Son
This one,
necesarios o sencillamente un mal. No. son un robo.
Los impuestos.
Taxation is
Son un
theft.
robo. ¿Qué pasa si yo voy a tu casa, Matías, y te digo, che, Matías, dame la mitad de tu ingreso? ¿Qué me vas a decir?
A ti te diría que no.
Bien, ok, me encanta. Ahora,
Al Estado.
wait a minute.
Sí, sí.
Mañana, vengo con un papel.
Tomorrow I come
te
with a
digo,
piece of
Matías,
paper
dame la
and I
mitad de
tell
tus
you,
ingresos.
Matthias,
What-
give me
¿qué
half
voy a
your
decir?
income.
Ya te dije
You're
que
going to tell me, I already
Bueno,
told you
pero
no.
escúchame, yo acá ahora
But hey,
tengo un
look here, I have a
papel
paper
que
that
dice
says
que
you
me
have
lo
to give it
tienes
to
que
me.
dar, ¿sí? Y está firmado.
And
Vos
it's
me decís, ¿por qué
signed.
está
And you're going to
firmado?
ask me who it is signed
Vas
by.
a sacar a
Me.
patadas.
And again, you're going to
Ok,
kick me out.
Ahora cuando
And when I
yo
come back on the
tengo
third
la
day, and I come back with a
pasantía,
guy who looks like
vuelvo
Shaquille
con un
O'Neal with a baseball
muchacho
bat,
parecido a Shaquille O'Neal con un bate de béisbol y ahora
I
Matías,
tell you,
que este
Matthias,
muchacho
while this
golpea
guy
el bate con
has a
la
baseball
mano,
bat and hits his
dame
hands,
la mitad de tus
give me
ingresos.
half your income.
Es decir,
Probablemente te
I'd
daría
probably give you
70%,
70% so you don't hit
hasta
me.
que no me golpee.
Okay,
Digo,
but
pero
that's
lo que te
theft.
quiero-
Pero también está la
digo, pero
posibilidad.
es un robo. Es un robo. Los impuestos
It's
son un
robbery.
robo.
Faltó
Taxes are
otra
theft.
alternativa, que venga el Estado legítimo y que sea la autoridad legítimamente
Pero no
diga,
es legítima.
dada una ley.
Pero
Yeah, and the
¿cómo
guy's
hacemos
contesting,
esto?
okay,
Se
but
hace
it's
con
from the state.
impuestos.
Dame un
The
segundo,
authority's
un
given by
segundo.
law. He says, but that's
La
not
primera alternativa
legit.
que viene te digo no.
I don't know
This
if we
is the
want to
first
watch
time.
all 5 minutes of that.
Yeah.
But
I
Yeah.
honestly, this is great. I love this. Let's get the other one with him going after the leftists, because that was great.
yeah. So you'll hear the word mira thrown around, and I think mira left. I don't know. He's saying it weird, but
You can't give shit
Al
left
zurdo
cards
de
away.
mierda no le podés dar ni un
Pero ¿me
milímetro.
podés definir
And you can
zurdo de
find shit
mierda que
left
no
cards.
Todos los que,
All
entiendo?
digamos, los
collectivists, all
colectivistas,
kind of
los que
collectivists.
ponen, digamos, o sea, esa idea. A ver,
¿Por qué
Whatever
le
you
pones de
call them,
mierda,
shit.
digamos?
porque son
Because
una
they are
mierda.
shit.
O sea,
Vos
no,
pensás-
pero es que se
pero no, pero
pero
hay
si
que
If you
pensás
think
distinto te van
differently
a,
from
te van a
them,
aniquilar.
they kill
Ese es
you.
el
That
punto.
is the
Es decir,
point. You
vos al
can't
zurdo
give
no le
shit
podés dar
leftists
un
an inch.
milímetro, porque le das un milímetro.
If you give them an inch, they will use it to destroy you.
There you go.
What a guy.
You don't negotiate with trash because they will end you.
Well, and who was it? Was it
And
Pol
since we're so
Pot?
much
Was
better
it
than them,
Mao?
Since we are defeating them in the cultural battle, we're not only superior economically, we're morally superior, we're aesthetically superior, we're better than them at everything. And it triggers them. And since they can't beat our arguments and our ideas peacefully, they use the repressive apparatus of the state to destroy us with taxpayer money and to influence, and yet they're still losing.
Wow.
And you understand? They're losing.
That's amazing.
I love
That's
this.
amazing. Yeah.
energy.
Who was it was one of the Asian leaders. I don't know if it was Pol Pot or Mao, but they said, when we hang the last capitalist, we'll use the rope they sold to us to do it.
Right.
Something along those lines.
Right.
And it's just that's like a communist mantra of like, we're going to destroy them because look, once they have the means of education and they have the means of money production, that's how they can do it, because at that point they control your kids and they control your money, and they won't have to do it. Really, you'll give the rope to your kid and they'll hang you.
Yeah, the idea behind it is that like the capitalist system contains the seeds of its own destruction. This is the Marxist philosophy. But when they say like we'll hang the capitalists with rope that they sold us, the only thing that really implies is that communists are unable to manufacture rope.
Amen. That's where I'm going with that one too, man.
They can't manufacture food either, right? They end up just starving themselves. So
that's right. Yeah, exactly.
But no, so for anyone who doesn't know, this Javier Milei kind of came out as the surprise. I'm not going to say victor, but he got the highest percentage of votes in the Argentinian primary. And he's a self-described anarcho-capitalist running on a minarchist platform because he's trying to be a little bit moderate, I guess, to be like, we're going to take, I guess, pragmatic steps towards what I want, which it makes sense.
Well, it works so well for Austin Peterson. Why not?
Right. So he intends to get rid of the Argentinian central bank. Now he intends to do that by dollarizing, but I mean, I can't blame the guy for that. As much as I'm like, yeah, go on the Bitcoins. People in Argentina are struggling. They're apparently yesterday businesses couldn't open for business because they couldn't figure out how to price stuff because the money was all over the place. They're like, we can't figure out what our money's worth right now. We can't even do business right now because we can't figure out what it's worth. So they
being a menu printer must be pretty profitable in Argentina because they're constantly having to update their prices.
Look, I'm
Right,
I'm
so,
old
like-
enough to remember selling 100 gold in World of Warcraft for 200 Venezuelan dollars. Like
Yeah.
this, it's happened.
right.
So
As
The
much
thing
as we
about
want to say
dollarizing too, that sounds
Go
like
ahead.
trading one bad currency for another, but it's really hard to get dollars in Argentina. Like you can't get them out of ATMs. They limit how many citizens can bring in, so they smuggle them in like their socks and stuff like that instead.
right, so
I
it's
don't
actually
know that you can just
scarce.
go withdraw them. Yeah,
didn't they have
It's
a few
actually
mayors
scarce.
recently too that they dragged the mayors out of their houses in the middle of the night and shaved their heads and tar and feather them and stuff? Like,
I didn't catch that.
yeah. Oh, I'll find some of that. That's happened in the last couple of years.
But but yeah, they were dollarizing, which it's hard to argue with someone that a money that loses 10% of its value per year, they shouldn't switch to when their money's losing 10% per month, right? I mean, at some point, it's like, what's the least worst option you have, and what can you and is going to facilitate international trade and try to stabilize your country? And
Well, and then
honestly, it's probably
meanwhile, you've got India and UAE just started this week trading oil, not in U.S. dollars.
oh yeah,
India
Yeah,
bought
petrodollars.
oil from the UAE. It was a bunch. It was like 1 million barrels in Indian rupees.
Someone accepted rupees outside of India. I don't believe that. No one wants rupees.
Oh yeah, they did not. They did not. I forget the name of the platform, but like they did not convert their native currencies. It was
What's
like a
the-
straight swap.
Because Saudi is that the real? What's the Saudi money?
Yes, the real.
Yeah.
Well, that's the Turkish real. What is Saudi? It might be the real.
Oh, regardless, I wouldn't be surprised if Saudi wanted money in wanted payment in their currency, but
Yeah, it's
to
real.
take- so that to take payment in rupees, like nobody takes payment in rupees. No one wants rupees.
Well, UAE did this week for oil.
Interesting. Well,
It's
I think
what,
Zach's
it's
gotta
what we talked about last week, dude. The BRICS nations are meeting next week.
it's
The
getting
Durban
interesting.
Accords.
Interesting.
Everybody hates the U.S. dollar.
Yeah. Well,
And having a dementia patient that falls downstairs, craps himself at the
falls
Vatican,
upstairs.
and does nothing but take vacations and eat ice cream. Having that does not display, business acumen or physical prowess in any means. So you have to understand that the rest of the world is just thinking, well, we're signaling that we're done. We have a freaking dementia patient calling the shots. And before he was a dementia patient, he was an absolute criminal, is what we're discovering. Not to say Trump is any better. Okay, it's just just because Biden doesn't look
well,
like
he wasn't using an elected position to be a criminal. He was just being a criminal.
right. Just because Trump doesn't look like Tupperware after spaghetti's been in it, or just because Biden doesn't look like Tupperware after spaghetti's been in it, doesn't mean he doesn't have his issues. It's wild what's going on, and just know that there's going to be some things coming down the pipe. There's going to be some things pushed in your face that make you think this is normal. Just because it's so common, it's not normal.
All right. I think Zach has to get going. I don't know if he's still here or not, but we should probably wrap up. So plugs. Zane, you got anything to plug?
Follow at LP Fulton GA on Twitter and come to our meetup if you're in the Sandy Springs area. It'll be at Mutation Brewing at 7:00 next Tuesday evening.
All right, Steve, what do you got?
Libertarian Party of Fayette and Coweta. We're meeting at the Lion Creek Bus Barn this Saturday, actually at noon. So if you want to come on out.
I'll be there.
What's
Zach
that?
will be there.
Yeah, from what I understand, Chattahoochee Valley is going to be there. So that'll be pretty cool. Excited to meet some folks. It's going to be a good time.
Lion Creek Bus Barn's a cool place. I like that place.
It used to be the bus yard for Fayette County, where they parked the buses in the summertime when school wasn't in. And then Genius Real Estate Developer was like, hey, we could turn this into something. And the county's like, we agree. How much are you going to pay us? And, apparently the number was right. And it's pretty cool. There's a good venue. It's a good place for the kids to hang out to. There's a city park and playground in the middle of it.
Water splash park thing. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the adults can hang out around the edge. And, there's an ice cream shop next door. It's a really cool place. Really good venue. And then I would say lpgeorgia.com. And, just, hey, this is one of many avenues the state party is using to get the message out and just kind of convey our analysis. And if you like it, if you don't totally hate it, we would love to have you on board. Love to hear your voice. Come chime in on the chat. Send us an email, send us a tweet. However you can get a hold of us, please. Just reach out, interact. And maybe we can all do something together.
All right. And
I have a quick plug if you want to go last, Nick.
Yep, go ahead.
So Daywalker Comedy was on Break the Cycle tonight, so go check that out. And then also, check out Banish Big Brother. If I could say it, banishbigbrother.com. That's a project of LP Georgia. It's really about to kick off. When you go there, you'll be able to basically join a list, and we're going to make a exclusive to that list announcement tomorrow about a big event that we're going to have going on.
Yeah, Zane's already hitting up Fulton County for public records requests.
Specifically the city of Sandy Springs, because we figured that would be a bit more manageable. So we've gotten 2 responses already. So we'll be looking over those here very soon.
So there's action going on, and we want to take that. We want to do we want everyone doing, we want people to join us in doing things like this, whether it's just requesting public information and, maybe set up a media site and just hold them accountable by publishing public documents and saying, hey, here's what's going on. Here's how they're using your tax money. Here's how they're screwing you over. Or, in some of these other organized ways we're doing, run for office. There's a ton of things that you can be doing, and we can be focusing in on to improve the world in every little way we can, especially close to home where we have a whole lot more control than, in Washington, D.C., where they're doing, all sorts of terrible stuff. So I'm just going to plug to go ahead and if you don't follow at Bitcoin Caucus on Twitter, that's my current project going on, promoting Bitcoin to libertarians, trying to bring, Bitcoiners to the party who generally align, as well as, educate, libertarians here about Bitcoin and especially candidates, and get them talking right and working with the right people to push good pro-Bitcoin legislation, whatever else there. So I've got some big ideas for that, and I think it's going to be a good time. So you can follow Bitcoin Caucus there, and then if you want, you can go to bitcoincaucus.com, sign up there, and check the link tree in the Twitter bio if you want to hop in our Discord, where I'm trying to create a bigger, not only a community of libertarian Bitcoiners, but a resource for anyone who wants to get into it or learn more, go deeper. So that's all kicking off. That's all starting right now. So if you're interested, come on in, join. I have been Nick, your guest host, while Jake is in supposedly Iceland. If it's real or not, I don't know. I have been there once. It's cool. Whether it's real or not still remains to be seen. So yeah, he's hanging out with the trolls, watching Northern Lights, Midnight Sun, whatever else. But this has been Liberty Libations, and we hope to see you next week.
Cheers.